Remember I told you in the books that the roots go as far as the drip line?
Yeah.
This is 35 feet radius.
Yeah, wow.
And, you know, and so the roots are spread everywhere. But what I'm seeing is that it's the life force. You know, they're feeding one another. It's a giving thing. It's not, nothing's being taken away from, and it's phenomenal. And I had the most interesting experience. You know, I grow. You know, this is a cool place to grow tomatoes. You got to have you want to get a lot of heat. And so I had this place in my herb garden where I had this metal sheet that reflects the heat to the north side of the plant to gain heat. And I've always grown tomatoes, and last year the tomatoes, 2 plants covered an area 10 by 20 feet. I mean, it was dramatic how well they did. But it was awesome this year. These things are totally thriving, full of tomatoes. I'm beginning to eat them. And we got this heavy rain. We're talking a heavy, heavy rain. And all those tomatoes got fungus and they're dead. They're gone.
Yeah.
Totally over. But you know what's interesting? And you'll see today when you walk through the orchard? All the tomatoes under my trees experiencing the same rain didn't get fungus. And I'm saying, God, you're getting my attention. You're getting my attention. I'm getting it. Growing under trees is the most ideal, best thing to do. You know, and you'll see these. You know what's interesting? People are shocked. These tomatoes are climbing up the trunk like they're stuck to it. I'm not staking them. And they're totally climbing the trunk, staying right. It's like, it's so awesome. And the beauty is I'm not doing anything. This is just all a natural phenomenon. And I'm thinking like, wow, you know, what I'm loving is that, you know, I've been doing this for 64 years, but I'm still learning new things. You know, it doesn't end. It just is always new revelation, new understanding coming, because it's just that awesome. So it's been really fun.
Next year you got to throw in a beef stick, because you know we can't grow beef.
I know.
Here,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. You know, it's just, you know, and again, you know, Nick, my friend, he works over at Sunny Farms in the nursery, and one of he's growing chickens here, and one of the employees came, and she flipped out at this tomato under the trees and says, "Lalani, with all her blue water, has nothing close to this." She was in total shock. It's under my tree, you know, just totally huge and beautiful. You know. When I came here, I read in Genesis that God said the reason He made us was to have dominion over everything He made. That was His purpose. Let them have dominion over everything we've made. He wanted us to care for it. And if you look at the top of these trees, the top of my hand, it's the same height. I'm not using ladders. These trees are going to serve me. And if you look at their position, they look like they're very humble, like they're bowing down, serving me. And they are. And so as the tree grew, when a branch got this high, I cut to a lateral going out, and that became the leader. As the branches grow out and get fruit, they bend over, and the weight of the apples bends them down. And you'll see a lot of my trees, the branches are on the ground, you know, because it's just the weight of the fruit pulls them right down. But I can reach everything. I never use a ladder, and it's very convenient. You know, as you get older, the word convenience starts making more sense. You know, I always like it. The older people laugh pretty well because they get it, you know, they totally get it, you know. And you realize, like, why make it hard? Keep it simple, make it easy, you know.
And they don't go all the way to the.
Oh yeah, you'll see a lot of my trees. They're on the ground.
Okay.
But on the ground, it's not a problem
It's still good with the wood chip.
because it's not mud, and it's totally soft, and nothing's going to rot. You know, this is not a dirt environment. This is totally a nice environment. So, and actually, when they fall, they don't fall far, and they land on wood chips, which is clean and soft, so they don't bruise. So it's very convenient. Works really well.
There must be 50 or 60 apples on this branch over here.
Oh, it's nuts.
On one branch.
It's totally crazy, you know. And you can, if you ever go to orchards, you can see my trees are very open. They're not very full. Most trees are really full. And I'm pruning my trees open because I'm trying to reduce the amount of fruit I get. I'm making an effort to get less, but it's not working. You know.
How many apples are normally on a tree?
Oh, I don't know the numbers, but I'm just saying you don't ever see them this dense.
Okay.
They're not like grapes
That's what I was
hanging, you
Yeah,
know.
they look like grapes hanging. That's what it
Okay.
looks
You don't see them like that in orchards, you know, and because they don't grow like that normally.
like. Only here at Paul's.
It's so.
You'll see amazing things.
This abundance can be a challenge.
How old are apple trees?
These bigger ones here are 40 years old. When I first came here, I planted trees Because in the Torah, when God wrote to the Israelites, He told them, before you build your house, you plant your vineyards and orchards and gardens. And there's a wisdom in that, because if you can't grow food there, you can't live there. Because back in the day there weren't stores, and if everybody grew their own food, and so before you built on a place, you had to make sure it was a growable place you can grow food, because otherwise you can't live there. So the first thing I did was plant these fruit trees. And they're in good shape. They'll last for 100 years or more. The only reason that trees die is because they break up. They get cavities and the structure fails and they break. But trees, if they're in good health, should live forever. They should have no reason to die. And it's interesting, General Sherman there in California, the big redwood, it's 2,000 years old, 500 some feet, and still growing.
Wow.
And it was interesting in Israel when the Crusaders came in and cut down all the olive trees that were there when Jesus was there.
Yeah.
Now they've gone back and begun watering and regrowing things from those stumps. Those olive trees are coming back.
Wow.
It's amazing. Life is powerful. It is incredible. And something that was so cool, I just saw a video, was they do a lot of excavation in Israel because of all the history that's there. And they found this date seed that was 2,000 years old. A date seed. They planted it and it's growing, and they're so excited because they want to see what this date's going to be like. And I thought, how awesome, man. 2,000-year-old seed is growing, It's so cool. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Oh, we've been looking forward to meeting you.
Oh, bless you. Where are you from?
We're from Victoria. BC.
Okay. All right, not far.
Yeah.
I can just about, they did some logging in my place here last year, and I can almost see Victoria from my place. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, we were down at Dungeness Spit there earlier, just looking back towards the
Yeah,
Vancouver Island.
Sure. Yep.
Walk out on the spit.
Yeah.
How far did you go?
About halfway.
Yeah. That's good. That's a nice walk.
We needed to get here.
Sure.
Yeah. We're working back from this time, right?
Yes, for a walk. Right now.
You would know walking from Canada to the US.
So that's the way to pick fruit, eh?
Well, I was just telling them, in the scripture, God gives us a clue of why He made us to have dominion. He said, let them have dominion over everything we've made. And I sensed when I came here that I wasn't going to be a slave to trees. And if you look at the top of my hand,
Yeah.
that's where all the tops of my trees are. And as the trees grew, when a leader went beyond that, I cut to a lateral branch. As the lateral branch grow out and get fruit, they bend over because of the weight. So if you look at them, they all look like they're humble, bowing down, serving me. It's just it's so significant, the reality,
Incredible illustration.
Illustration, yeah. They're all humbly serving me, because they're just, I trained them that way.
I love all your nasturtiums underneath.
Yeah, look how beautiful they are, And everybody should go eat a flower. Those are really, if you haven't had them before, they're really good. Yeah, go eat them because they're yeah. Walk over here. You're gonna be surprised. Now, this one, when you get to the stem, it'll be sweet. Yeah, come out over here, and you'll find the stem is really sweet. It's really cool.
But the flower is spicy.
Not as spicy as you think.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's good.
I will. Go to try.
The stem is the sweetest part.
Flower. Only one flower, okay?
You can have many flowers.
That's right.
There's plenty.
I don't know, Paul. You might run out of nasturtiums.
Not here. Look at the volume in there.
This is crazy. Every year, I think it might have been the first year or the second year that you put down some nasturtium seeds that I was here the first time. And every year I
multiplies.
come back and you're like, they just come by themselves.
They
now.
seed themselves. Yeah, the seeds fall on the ground and they just grow.
They're very prolific about that. And they'll grow in anything.
Yeah, they're doing well.
I've had nasturtiums come up in this.
Well, this is an amazing growing medium. I don't know if you realize.
Amazing.
It's crushed rock, which are minerals.
Yep.
And things grow better in this than they do in dirt. Because it's all full of minerals. Take the bug away. You don't want to eat it.
I know, but are earwigs really the enemy?
No.
I mean, when I was a kid, we were always afraid of them. But I've never seen them eat. I've never seen them
Insects
do
are not
damage.
enemies. They're God's police force. Really.
Okay. So
I'll explain to you.
So they're not going to. He hasn't done any damage to this
No,
flower.
no, because it's full of water. You see, insects only eat
course.
dehydrated and stressed
Right.
plants. They never attack healthy plants. And so this is the design God made. You see, if unhealthy plants could exist and survive, they'd eventually, the seed would get weaker and weaker to become extinct. So God created insects as a police force to take out stressed, dehydrated, healthy plants, so the healthy plants produce seed and maintain healthy plants. It's by design. They're not a problem. They're not an issue. And if they show up, they're a wake-up call. They're telling you your plant's not well.
So he was just down there.
He was just cruising.
That's where the water was.
He was getting a drink.
Yeah.
But he's not eating because when you eat that, you're going to see it's full of water.
Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye.
Now, what kind of flowers are these?
Nasturtium.
Nasturtium?
Nasturtium. Nastur.
Yummy, yummy, yummy.
The stems are so sweet.
The stem is sweet. I love it, you know.
It's like filled with sugar.
And you're going to find that everything you eat here is sweet. Everything. Because the Creator's sweet. He didn't make things bitter. You know, I had a question about bitter, because when the film first came out, the Back to Eden film came out in August 2011, and I had all these farmers coming all winter, you know, because it came out late, and they're coming here, and I'm feeding them kale in my garden, because that's all I had in February, and everybody's saying, this is not bitter, this is sweet. When I hear something over and over, nonstop, like 100 times, I'm thinking like, I'm supposed to get something here. This is not coincidental. So God, what's up with this bitter? I want you to look at my body language. When plants grow in compacted, dead soil, they struggle to put out roots and to live. And they're expressing in their flavor their bitterness. It's huge. They're expressing in their flavor they're bitter because life was hard. Conversely, when plants grow in nutrient-dense, aerated soil, life was easy. It was sweet. And they taste like it. Nature is very amazing how it really communicates truth. It's really powerful.
So this same principle will work though in flower gardens as well.
For everything.
Yeah.
There's nothing it doesn't work in. You know the Creator made things really easy for us. If you look at if someone were to ask you where in the planet is the most fertile soil, everybody goes to the forest. What's the forest composed of? Wood chips, needles, leaves, and twigs. And everything grows well there. I mean, it's so obvious. And what I love about it is no one shows up to work. Did you hear me? In nature, no one shows up to work. It's the most sustainable permaculture on the planet. Sustainable, it totally takes care of itself. It doesn't need any help. Look at these sequoia trees behind you. Look at how deep, dark green that foliage is.
Totally nervous.
Where are they getting all of that nitrogen to make them that green? Look at the ground. Needles. Nothing but needles from the tree. I mean, the evidence is so obvious if you're looking. This isn't fertilized. It's not watered. This is just the natural response to a nice cover. I mean, it's just, it's so simple.
It's like lawns.
Yeah.
So everybody wants you to take, like I'm a landscaper, so everybody wants you to take their clippings away. Well, their clippings are full of nitrogen. Like if we just leave them.
And let me tell you about lawns, because you're going to love this. In the 50s, when I was growing up, the Japanese gardens in LA maintained the nicest places. And when chemical fertilizers came on, everybody bought it except them. And you see them going down their with their trucks full of manure sacks, steer manure, chicken manure, with spreaders, and they top dress their lawns with manures, and their lawns always look the best. Here's what happened after the 50s. Thatch and lawns never existed prior to chemical fertilizers. No one ever thatched lawns in the 50s. When your parents didn't thatch their lawns. But when you use chemical fertilizers, all the living organisms leave. The worms, the bacteria, the fungi can't live there because it's toxic. So they all leave, and now there's nothing there to break down the dead grass. And so you have to thatch it out because it's not decomposing. And all you have to do is reestablish the natural order, and all of a sudden it comes back into place. I mean, it's just so amazing how we don't get it, because it's so obvious. All these issues never happened before we started using these chemicals. And why do we keep doing it? It's like it doesn't work. The same with tilling. You thought the dust bowl would have got our attention. You can't expose ground. It's not safe. They keep doing it. I mean, it's just like, are we? And we're supposed to be intelligent beings. I mean, it's to me, it's crazy because it's just, it doesn't make sense. I want to wait till 2:30, give everybody the chance to get here on time.
I'm sorry she didn't end up being a good deer dog.
It's okay.
She's so sweet.
She's a sweet dog, but she's a social dog. The deer are welcome. But I got to get a good dog, because the deer are hard on my trees.
Have you any animals or birds or anything bothering them?
I have deer. You see all the damage to my trees? I never had it before because I had good dogs, but I don't have a good dog now. I had Labradors in the past, and they were just really great.
Okay.
And so I need to get another one because they were very, very good.
You notice there's not much birds here like at our house in North Carolina. We have birds everywhere coming down.
We have birds. There's birds around. Maybe today it's just too. They're out in the shade, but
Yeah, it's too hot right now.
we have a lot of birds.
How do you keep them away from strawberries and those?
No, you know, I have so much. There's enough for all of us.
Oh, okay.
They eat my blueberries, but there's plenty for all of us. Now the only bird I had a problem with was crows, because they're not nice. They won't eat an apple. They'll bite into one and go to the next and damage it. They're really not nice. So I'm asking the Creator how to get rid of them, and it says you need to take one out and hang it up. And I thought, wow, that's interesting. But taking one out is a major challenge. They got a lookout over here, one over there, while all the rest are eating. As soon as I go to my shed to get my gun, they're saying, he's getting his gun, leave. I'm serious. I'm watching this every day, man. Like I finally got a shot at one. I thought I missed it, but I get down to my pond, I saw it floating, I thought, awesome. So I put up a PVC pipe along my fence, I hung it up there, and I got out here the next morning at 5 o'clock when they came in because I wanted to see what happened. They come in, like they always do, but all of a sudden the whole sound changed. They started circling high. They weren't coming down. And I thought, like, wow, man, this works. You see, they're intelligent. And when they see a dead crow, they know this is not a safe place. And the next year, there was a big raven out in my field. And I don't know what he was focused on, but he was really focused in my grass. I went to my shed and I got my gun. I got him. I hung him up. The next year, the crows flew a lot higher. I'm serious. They stayed a lot higher because, man, if a raven got taken out, this is really dangerous. Don't go there, you know. But it's been like, I think now, I think about 3 years since I put them up, because I think they pass it on to their generations. Don't go there. It's not safe there, and it's just I haven't had to use one for about 3 or 4 years because they just don't come.
Yeah, well, they will. They are super communicative.
Oh yeah, incredible, and just I mean they have these little lookouts all around there, and total communication, man, it's phenomenal. They're really intelligent birds, but they're hard on your trees. So and you know, scarecrows is a joke to them. They know what that is, you know, but a dead crow is reality, and they get it. Like, that's not a safe place. Don't go there. So it really works well. And my sense is, it's really kind. One crow sacrifices his life to save all the rest. Really?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, so it's actually a kind thing. Instead of taking them all out, just take one out, and that works for all the rest, you know. So it's really a conservative kind thing to do. Let one be the sacrifice and do the job. Okay, I think we're at 2:30. We can get going. I'm blessed you're all here. Thank you. If you need water, or if you brought water, I encourage you to pour it out. If you walk up there in front of my black 4runner, there's a drinking fountain. And my water here is really good. It comes out of those glaciers in the Olympics over there. It's 7.3 pH, and it's really delicious. It's excellent water, so I encourage you to access it. If you need to use a bathroom, if you just follow the road around the house, you come to the back side of the house, you look off to the left, you'll see a wooden building with a green roof. That's the bathroom. And so you're welcome to use whatever you need. Why I do this, I'm going to give you my history so you get an idea of why I'm spending the time doing this, because I really want... I grew up in a family that my parents grew all of our food in Los Angeles. Most of our food. We had an acre property, and it was so cool as a kid growing up, you were never hungry. Anytime you're hungry, just walk outside. There's incredible fruit and vegetables all year long because in California you can grow everything. And so I live with this kind of a lifestyle, just having food available all the time. It was really good. And so I wanted that for my family as I got older. And I got married and started having children, but LA changed in the time I lived there. And it was no longer a safe place to live. It was very polluted and property was very expensive and you couldn't get much. I'm thinking like, I need to get a place so I can grow food for my family. So we bought this 5.3 acres. 1979, building my house, we experienced a significant challenge. We drilled a well 213 feet, got half a gallon a minute. A half a gallon a minute. No water. I can't. So I'm building the house. I'm saying, now God, how can I grow fruit trees without water? He says, come out to the woods and I'll show you. And when I went to the woods, I started moving this cover and I saw this incredible life force in the soil and the dampness. And it totally changed my life. That day changed my life. And from then on, I started communicating with the Father about how to grow things. And this is what I want to share with you because it's so simple. It's, you know, what I love about it, it's totally free, it's unlimited, and it's non-toxic. Conversely, everything you're taught in school, it's expensive, it's limited, and it's toxic. Really. But this, and basically what I'm doing is creating the forest floor in my yard. This is the forest floor. Everything you're going to walk on is the forest floor. And everything's growing great. And it's awesome. And this orchard has not been irrigated or watered for 40 years, ever. And we've gone through droughts, and the trees have never been affected. And I'm telling you, this, you know, I've done this for 40 years, so I know what I'm talking about. I'm serious. I have experience.
More than a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I have experience. And when I came here, all my trees were sick. They had all the diseases. I had leaf curl. I had fungi. I had scab. I had earwigs in the apples. And it took 4 to 6 years before fruit. Now I have none of those issues. I can plant a tree now. In the first year, they have 30 apples. So I know what I'm talking about. Nutrient density is significant. It's really significant. And whether it's humans or trees, the reality is all disease is a result of malnutrition. Did you hear me? All disease is a result of malnutrition, period. Period. If you're well nurtured, you can't get sick. It's impossible. And the same whether it's a human, an animal, or a plant. It's all the same. So as we go on the tour, I really encourage questions. That really helps me stay connected. And many times you bring up things that I would have not thought of that are really important. So it's not an interruption. So if you have questions, please ask. Okay? That will really help me. So let's head on over here. I don't know if you're enjoying this nice aroma in the air. These are some wood chips that just came here. You know, and I just everything about nature is just delightful. It's beautiful. Come on over here. I want to show. Does anybody here gardeners? That's a typical gardening thing where you prepare soil and work hard to fail. Come here. I want to show you something interesting. You see all this traffic we have today, and my wife's a midwife, and women come here for their prenatals, and everybody drives on this on a continuous basis. I want you to bend over and move it with your hand and see how easy it moves. Somebody. Yeah, go in there. Just start moving that and just see how easy it moves. Look at that. Totally soft. Look how beautiful and soft that is. And this is with continuous car traffic. What I want you to get is when you have living soil under cover, it cannot be compacted. It's impossible. Conversely, when you take the soil off, it immediately compacts and dies. Compacted soil is dead. I mean, it's so real. Well, I just love this. Constant traffic never compacts it because it can't be. It's full of life. Is anybody around fruit trees? Anybody been on orchards and fruit trees?
Yeah, I have a client that has like 35.
Okay, you notice my trees are very open compared to typical orchards. They're very full.
Yeah, very full.
And if you look closely, the number of apples on them, it's not normal.
You're right, it's not.
And you know what's hilarious? This is so against an agriculture mentality, but I prune my trees open because I'm trying to reduce the amount of fruit I get. I'm trying to reduce the amount of fruit I get, but it's not working. this abundance can be a real challenge. You know, I want to get less. And I prune my trees with hardly anything on them, so I'll get less. But they're not cooperative. We're going to head on down here.
Is this wood chip for the apple trees and all those?
No, this is just covering this space out here.
Okay.
See, this space out here used to be all grass, and then in the wintertime it got really muddy and people got stuck in it. It was really so I thought, you know, it's covered with wood chips. But can I tell you what's awesome about this space right here? If things ever became difficult and there was, you know, lack of food, this could immediately become one huge community garden. And while I'm waiting, it's just upgrading. Did you hear me?
Yeah.
Instantly, I can turn this into a community garden, start planting food in it because it's just there. And the longer I wait, the better it gets. This is the beauty of the cover. You see, in a typical commercial orchard, a garden, you're constantly fertilizing and you're just maintaining. You're not getting better, you're just maintaining. This principle, every year, my fruit gets bigger and sweeter, unending. It's always improving. It never ends.
For 40 years it's gotten better.
Yeah. Well, I had an experience in my garden here. I had arugula in the garden in November. You know, arugula doesn't get very big. It's a small green.
Yeah.
And I'm not exaggerating. I had leaves 1 foot long, 3 inches wide.
Oh my.
Arugula.
Oh my.
I'm saying, God, what's up to this? And he told me, this is not going to end. This is not going to end. I started busting it up. This is awesome. It's not going to end. It just keeps multiplying because that's his nature. That's all he does. You look at these sunflowers growing in amongst my trees. Look how tall they are. They haven't even headed up yet. Yeah, and they're growing under my trees.
Volunteers?
No, I planted them.
Oh,
We just planted them, you know. But it's just, you know, I'm so seeing that things do so much better under trees than in full sun. Way better. That's going to rock your boat, but you're going to see it here in a minute. We're going to approach some strawberries under my cherry tree, and I want you to go down and check them out.
Okay.
If you grow strawberries, just check out the condition of these.
Now you say that over time this can become the soil for the garden. What would you do to prepare if you do want to?
No prepare.
You just
Well, you
go ahead and put
you see that grass over there, those weeds? I didn't plant that.
Okay, so you can just
Look at all the weeds. I didn't plant them.
But ours doesn't go like that.
What's that?
Our garden doesn't grow like that, so we've been trying to put good organic garden soil, and we're trying.
That's your problem. You're buying soil.
Oh, really?
Everybody, I want to get your attention. This lady just brought up something that is really sad. She's talking about buying all this good organic soil. Have you ever seen when they build a house in your neighborhood, what they do? They come with a bulldozer and they push all the topsoil off into a big pile so they can access the hard ground to put a foundation down. What happens immediately to that pile of dirt? Immediately turns to weeds. Are you following me?
Yeah, oh yeah.
You go to these places that are selling topsoil, they got these beautiful piles of black, beautiful looking soil with absolutely nothing growing in them. Not one weed for the whole year. Are you hearing me? And they're telling you, this is topsoil. This is organic, good topsoil. But nothing's growing in it. I mean, we don't think. We're buying this stuff that's totally sterile. It's not topsoil. It's something they made from peat moss, which is sterile. And then all kinds of sand or whatever else they mix into it, but it's not soil. Because if it was living soil, if it's standing out in the open and it rains and weeds blow in, it's going to grow. And nothing's growing. So I want you to pay attention about what you're being told and look at the evidence and operate accordingly. You should never bring in topsoil for any reason at all. Just use what you have, put wood chips over it, and it'll all change.
But you have to wait for a while, right?
A little while, but it changes immediately, and it's just progressional. It just gets better and better and better. If you want to speed it up, water Water really speeds the process because it's breaking down, so the water creates compost tea and feeds the soil. So
But like a minimum of what, a year before you can do anything?
I've had people tell me when they put wood chips around their trees, in a month they're seeing the leaves get greener.
Okay, trees, but what about vegetable garden?
Then pull the wood chips back, plant the soil. As the plants grow, put the wood chips around it and water. You'll be good.
But if you have hard clay underneath it,
Put the wood chips down by spring. That hard clay, the very top's getting soft. Plant there in the top, and then put wood chips on it, and your plants will grow great.
okay. But you can't do like those long, deep-rooted vegetable yet, right? Like
You may have to wait for carrots, but
even beets, because I can't seem to.
Oh, you gotta see my beet.
I can't seem to get them germinated.
You're gonna have to eat my beets. You're gonna love it. Well, you're here today for a reason because just be open. Again, how that ground became what it is now was years of neglect. You're not going to correct it in a week. It's going to take some time, but the correction happens faster than the damage. I'm just telling you. Yes.
I just want to share. We planted a garden this year, and I brought I went out and got soil. It's got a lot of. Most of it is actually ground up trees. But I mixed it in, and I think the reason is that it's composting. Like the vegetables aren't really growing in it because we didn't put it on top. We actually mixed it in, and it's it's breaking down, and it's utilizing the nitrogen to break down rather than.
Yeah, this is so good. And again, this is something I want you all to take home with you. Don't ever forget this. This is the reason why you came here. If you have a question how to progress in your garden, go to nature. Nowhere in nature is anything ever mixed in to the soil. It's always layered. I'm just telling you, all these things we do, there's no demonstration in nature. And it's just, you see, when you put organic material in the soil has to break it down, so it ties up all the nitrogen and it stresses it out to break down all this foreign material that doesn't belong there. If you lay it on top, the composting process does all that work with no lack to the soil. Water goes through it, creates compost tea, and it builds and supports the soil on a continuous basis with no work. The thing I'm seeing is that we work so hard to fail is pathetic. I'm serious. We work hard to fail. I mean, it's nuts. And I've done it. I know what I'm talking about. I spent years rototilling, pulling out rocks, which are minerals, doing all the stupid things with no benefit. So I know what I'm talking about. Where in nature, no one works, everything falls in layers and works perfect. And we keep thinking we gotta mix it. We gotta try to help it out, which totally puts it backwards and makes it dysfunctional. It's just, but thank you. I'm so glad you shared that. So any material you get, just put on top, whatever it is. Just layer, and you're good. What's that?
Potatoes.
What's that?
When you're harvesting potatoes from under the trees, do you pull back what's visible?
The wood chips, yeah, because the potatoes are down underneath.
So you pull those back.
And I get the potatoes out, and I have a hole dug.
Right.
And I take my biggest potato and put it back in the hole and plant the same day. Why do it twice?
Exactly.
Do you hear me? And everybody will tell you, oh, they won't survive the winter, they'll freeze. If you've ever had a compost pile near your garden and you've thrown stuff in it, you find in the spring you got stuff growing there way ahead of anything you planted in the garden, far healthier. It went through the winter. It didn't die. It's just these stupid things we believe and say have no demonstration in nature, and it's stupid. I'm just saying, it's so convenient. You got a hole dug, why do it twice? And then the whole issue about potatoes, they tell you to cut them in pieces. If you want to ensure and guarantee a small crop, that's what you do. Cut them in pieces. That will ensure a small crop. Here's why. At each eye of the potato, it sends out a shoot. So the smaller pieces you cut with the fewer shoots, you'll get less shoots. That's a subtraction. If you put a big potato with lots of shoots, as the potato grows, it feeds the potato, it has a lot of potential. So I'd say the little ones taste the same as the big. Plant the big one. Invest in your future. Get a big crop back. I mean, it's so dumb. What we do. It's just like, and we're supposed to be intelligent beings. This makes no sense. And we keep doing it over and over experiencing the consequences and don't change, thinking like, this is how you do it. This is how it's supposed to be done. It's crazy.
I was just curious if, do you make these wood chips or do you buy them?
No, I don't buy or make them. The tree services do this for me. So, tree services really like places like mine because many times they have to pay to dump or go a long ways, so I'm an asset to them. And you know what's hilarious? You're going to love this. I'm an arborist. I've been pruning trees for, 49 years. And I've never had a chipper. And the creator told me not to get one. Because they're expensive, they're high maintenance, and when you're running them, you're breathing in exhaust, and they're loud, and they're very slow. So when I do trees, I take my truck, I have my kids working with me, I load it all in the truck, I take it to the big guy with the tub grinder, he grinds it and sells all the rest, so I have no overhead, I work a lot faster, and I get them all for free. I love my father. He really cares for me. And I think it's so cool. I've created tons of wood chips, branches, but I've never had a chipper, and I get all I need. And I had no overhead, no expense. It was so interesting. We were doing it. My kids were homeschooled. I always took my boys with work with me. That was part of their schooling, taught them how to work. And I'm taking this big tree down. As the branch was coming down, my sons immediately loaded my truck. As fast as they came down, he had it loaded. Across the street, they're doing the same thing, a tree service. And they're dragging all the brush into the street. They make these big piles, and they start a chipper, one branch at a time. They were so much slower. I was in and out of there, done. And I'm thinking like, this is better. And they're paying, this is expensive equipment they got to maintain, and they're listen to all that loud noise, breathing the exhaust. This is better. I just blew my mind like, wow, thank you, God. I really appreciate your helping me because I wouldn't know any better. I thought this is how you do it, but. See all this cabbage here in the orchard? I had to thin my row, so I just brought on here to suck them in the wood chips. When you plant seed, they come in too thick, so you got to give them room. So instead of just throwing the plants away, I just transplant them in the orchard.
Do you have an aha moment in terms of not believing everything you were told? Like what sort of set you off thinking, wait a minute?
Well, when God took me to the woods and showed me how trees grow, that was when it began, and it just continues. I have aha moments every day, because he's always showing you new things. The word is very plain. It says you have not because you don't ask. Yeah. It's our fault, not his. He wants to give, and he invites us to ask. He says, in all your ways acknowledge me. That's pretty clear. What does all leave out? But we don't ask. And so I'm finding that he's a really great resource. He knows everything, and he loves to share, and he's free. Doesn't charge you.
Are the sunflowers helping the apple trees, or are
Oh yeah, and the trees are so benefited by them growing there.
Okay.
I had potatoes growing under my apple trees last year, and I was really amazed as I'm watching them grow, because the closer the plants got to the tree, the bigger and thicker and greener the foliage was. And I'm thinking in my mind, this is not right. The tree should be taking away from its shade. How come they're not doing better in full sun? So I went to harvest. I'm encountering the same thing. The closer I get to the trees, the bigger the potatoes were. And I'm not exaggerating. We've did fingerlings that were like 3 inches thick, almost a foot long. Fingerlings. They're not supposed to get that big. So I'm conversing with the Creator, and he says, I'm not done yet. Wait till you get to the tree. When I got to the tree, I'm seeing the shoots in the tree were way thicker and way taller than all the rest of my orchard. Like, it was dramatic how much better the tree grew. And then in the fall, when all the leaves came off, that one didn't. That was the last of the leaves. And I got the reality. Here's what he showed me was, nature is showing you that every living being does better in a community environment than isolation. It's called symbiotic relationship. It's huge. It's incredible. And we don't get it. We think they're taking away from one another. This is a subtraction. It's an addition, big time. And I'm telling everybody now, the first thing you want to plant in your vegetable garden, the first thing you want to plant are fruit trees in the garden. Because your produce will do so much better under the trees, your trees will do so much better with the produce that it's off the charts. Totally off the charts. It's huge. And you're going to see as we walk through here today, you'll see it. The visible demonstration will just stand out to you. It's powerful.
Must be the biggest
bean pods there.
What's that?
The biggest bean or pea pods.
Yeah, eat them. They're good. Anything, like I say, if you see something you want to eat, help yourself. Those peas are really good. Go pick them. And comment, comment about your experience with eating those. Did you hear that? Sweet and moist. Something I want you to get is that the Creator is so ordered. What is the earth 75% of? Water. What is your body 75% of? Water. And you're going to find all of my produce, everything you eat here, is 75% water. I'm telling you, it's so ordered. And here's what's so pathetic about our culture. Because your food is grown in compacted dead soil, the farmers are watering this much, but the plants can't take it up because they have no roots. With your meals, you're drinking water because you're thirsty.
Oh, yeah.
But when you're eating this kind of food, you're not thirsty. You're being hydrated at the same time because the water's in it. You know where the most nutritious, clean water in the world is? The water that's in fruits and vegetables. I'm just telling you, in fruits and vegetables is the cleanest and most nutritious water in the world. I love the Creator. He didn't miss anything. You see, when you're eating food with water in it, as you chew it up, the food becomes water soluble, very easily digestible, and totally hydrates you all at the same time. When you drink water with your foods, you dilute the whole digestive process. It starts with saliva all the way down, and you lose the benefit of the food. I mean, do it wrong. Make it hard. I'm just telling you, man, it's so dumb. And having it in the food is like it's water soluble. It becomes totally available to your tissues. And you're hydrated and you're not thirsty. It just does so much.
I was thankful in sort of Saanich where I live, one of the farm markets, I've got some of their field cucumbers and some of their carrots, and it was after seeing your Back to Eden, the cucumber, when I cut it open, was actually so dehydrated, it was actually starting to split apart.
I know, isn't it sad?
And then the carrots were really young carrots, but they were bitter as well. And I remember you saying about the bitter of the vegetables, but I was just like, I hadn't understood that before, especially like to have a cucumber that was so dry. Usually cucumbers are one. I
wish you were, my cucumbers are just starting to get ripe. I wish you could have, because my cucumbers are so off the charts. I mean, they're so full of water and delicious because that's how they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Now, is anybody growing strawberries? How do these look?
They look like they're growing like crazy.
Do you see where they're growing? Under a tree in full shade. Are you getting it? Now, if you look over there, the strawberries by the end of the road are in full sun, the same soil, and look at the difference. Look at the difference. They're okay, but they're not this.
Does it count if the tree's dead?
No. Ideally, if the tree's dead, you want to chip it up and put it back into the ground and plant a live tree, because death is no benefit in your life.
What about grass clippings?
Grass clipping is wonderful.
Is it?
Yeah, all organic material, grass clippings, leaves. You got to be careful with manures nowadays because of what animals eat. Right. And I'm serious, because manures aren't safe anymore. Because I'm serious. See, in fields now, farmers are using 2,4-D Agent Orange, an herbicide, to take out broadleaf weeds. And when animals eat that goes into the digestive system, it doesn't break down, and that manure will kill your whole garden. Totally take out your whole garden. Then all your animals today are fed antibiotics and hormones. You don't want that in your food. So this is what I'm loving about wood chips, because we're living in times that things are not the same as they used to be. And wood tree branches are clean, they're not messed with, and so they're safe. This is what and the other thing about wood chips, over all the rest, it has fungi. Fungi is such a huge component to living soil. And see, grass clippings and manures and leaves don't have fungi, but wood chips have fungi. And just for example, how amazing fungi works, mycelium, just one of them, will grow underground for miles. We're talking not feet, not yards, miles. And when plant roots connect to that mycelium, they access the food sources spread out for miles. I mean, it's huge. It's so significant, the power of fungi. You know what mushrooms are? They're fungi flowers. Basically, and I get mushrooms growing all the time at Wichita because it's a fungi-rich place and just they flower, come up.
What do you do with the strawberry runners? Do you clip them? We try to root them?
If friends need them, I give them away. Otherwise, I feed them to my chickens. Now, Nick last year sold a whole bunch because I had so many out here. I was going to feed them. Oh, I'll just go sell those. People bought them because they're great. And let me tell you about how to care for strawberries. This is something you'll never get out of a book. So listen. Strawberries, when you have a bed for a long time, they get very compacted, and you have to thin. And it's a lot of work because the new growth on top is what you want to keep, and the stuff below you got to get out, so you have to get underneath to get out. So it's a lot of work. So I'm out there talking to the creators. Says, your word says your yoke is easy, your burden is light. This isn't. How would you approach this? He says, just spread wood chips. I says, what? Yeah, just the fall, winter when it looked terrible, just cover the whole bed with wood chips. You have nothing ugly to look at. And here's what's cool. I just was so blown away what happened. In the spring, because it's covered with wood chips, the old plants you got to thin don't have the energy to push through the wood chips. They die and become fertilizer, and the young chips come pushing through, totally staggered, not crowded, and productive. I love it. I want you to do something. I want you to walk full weight on my strawberries right now. Full weight. Like, don't act like, yeah, there you go. Look at that. You can't even tell where she's been. She's not hurting my plants because see, the wood chips underneath give it cushion. It's not being smashed against hard ground. I'm just telling you, these wood chips at all levels are so beneficial. It blows me away. I mean, it is so cool.
No, grass clippings.
Grass clippings are great. It's green.
The wood chips you need for the fungus.
Yeah, but grass clippings I use all my grass clippings. What I do at my place is I take all my yard waste to give to my chickens, and they turn it back to really nice compost for me, and they give me eggs as a bonus. So it's all recycled. And I'm seeing that. And here's the word. I love the scripture. It says, "From dust we came, from dust we return." Everything God's created turns back to dirt. Everything. It's a perfect system. And it's awesome. And there's no reason not to use it. See, all my weeds are an asset. They're food for my chickens. Nothing here goes to waste my property. Everything is put back either to feed chickens or back to soil. And when you get to my chicken pen, if you'd like to see the most beautiful compost you've ever seen in your life, where's that lady who's buying stuff didn't work? You need to go to my chicken pen and examine that soil. And I'm serious, man. It's the most beautiful black soil you've ever seen in your life. It won't compact. You can bounce on it when you walk, and it's the most powerful. And it was created by yard waste composting via chickens homogenizing it. I mean, I'm telling you, man, you can't improve on nature. It's impossible. It's the very best design.
So, Paul, when you started, how many inches of wood chips did you put down?
Oh, this is so cool, and I'm so glad because this is going to bring up the question. The scientists, the intelligent ones tell you, never put wood chips up against tree trunks.
Oh, yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
That'll kill the tree. So I put wood chips 16 inches deep up against tree trunks. But let me give you the natural demonstration. Remember, go to nature?
Yeah.
If you go to the forest in the wintertime, when the wind blows, needles and leaves will bank up against tree trunks because that's where they were stopped by the wind.
Yeah.
A foot and a half deep. No one takes that away. The trees are fine. I mean, make it hard for me. Create a little space around my tree trunk for all kinds of weeds and garbage to fall into so I can have this major labor-intensive project to deal with for no reason. I mean, make it hard for me. Because there's no evidence that it can do anything. The stuff's full of air. It's not going to suffocate. I mean, the dumb things they tell us just blow me away because it doesn't work. There's no demonstration in nature that reveals it. So always go to nature when you're told stuff. And you'll be amazed at how simple the answer is, and it's very obvious. You can't miss it. It's in your face. I mean, let's just talk about a few. Crop rotation. Nowhere in nature are crops rotated. Nowhere. The opposite happens. Plants go to seed, they fall on the ground right there. Same place every year, decade after decade, century after century, and they're doing fine. And we're told, you gotta rotate the crops. Make it hard for me. The whole concept of weeding. You go in the forest, there's no weeds. None. Weeding is nature's response to you uncovering the ground. Nature's trying to recover the ground, put a new covering back over because it knows it's not safe. So it's trying to put a cover back. So if you stop taking the cover off and put a cover down, weeds will go somewhere else where they have to work because they don't need to work here. You know, I'm just telling you, man, it's so simple. And the whole concept of fertilizing. Where in nature does the Creator fertilize? Nowhere. He just returns everything. And here's the genius. When do farmers fertilize? Let's just stay on the stupid end of things. When do farmers fertilize? Spring. That's stupid. Let's be honest. You're planting in spring, and it takes time for fertilizer to get below ground level to the root system. And you're planting in spring, you want the fertilizer at root level, and they're putting on top of the ground? That's dumb. So when does the Creator fertilize? Every fall he puts a covering of needles and leaves over the whole planet. Every fall. Then he sends rain and snow, and he uses gravity to create compost tea and feed the soil, build the soil for next spring's growth. What a genius idea. I love it. And I get so off on the idea he uses gravity. There's no work. No one's doing anything. And here's the irony. Today farmers are spending fortunes for compost tea because it's the best fertilizer there is. It's the best. And they water their gardens with it. But the second or third watering, it's all diluted and gone. I got to do it again. I'm saying if you simply put wood chips on the ground, every time it rains, every time you water, you get compost tea 24/7 feeding your ground and plants. Unending. For free. With no work. I mean, can you make it easier? More convenient? And here we're out there taking the cover off, fighting weeds, compacted soil, and bringing in compost tea. And paying for it. I mean, are we dumb or what? It just blows me away because it's so stupid when you analyze how we operate. These are all dwarf trees, okay? And I encourage you, if you're planting trees in your garden, always plant dwarfs, because otherwise they get too big. If you look at this tree right over here, that doesn't look like a dwarf tree. Look at the size of it. Right there, yeah. Are you hearing me? You know the Creator laughs? In Psalm chapter 2 it says he laughs. And he laughs at the concept of the dwarf tree. He laughs at the concept. Let me show you why. This is going to blow you away. If you go to college and you're taught agriculture, what do they teach you about root systems? How far do roots go out from trees?
Drip line.
Drip line, yeah, that's it. That's what they tell you. The roots go as far as the drip line. Can I show you how God laughs? This is hilarious. This so blows my mind because and you know how they create dwarf trees? This is even more hilarious. You know how dwarf trees are created? You know how they're made? Does anybody know?
No.
They find a rootstock that doesn't develop a large root system. And they graft into that because if you have a small root system, that will ensure a small tree. Obviously, if it can't eat well, it can't grow well. I mean, this is common sense.
Yeah.
So, and I always tell you with dwarf trees, you got to stake it because they have no roots to support them. Let me show you the hilarity of that and how God laughs. It's so fun because everybody needs to come here because it's on the ground here. You got to see it.
What's the typical thickness of your wood chips here?
This here, this is probably maybe this has been 40 years of wood chips, so it goes pretty deep, but probably outside the surface maybe 3-4 inches. Everybody can. You got to. This is. It's right here. I want you to see this. This is so powerful. There's this little shoot coming up out of the ground here. Right here. This is a root shoot. You know where it's coming from? That plum tree right there, which is 30-foot radius. This is not diameter. This is 30-foot radius from that tree. A dwarf tree with a small root system that only goes as far as the drip line is 30-foot radius. It's right there. There it is. So let me explain to you why I never have to water and fertilize my trees. I want you to, with your eye to lock it here and then do a circle, this radius, around that plum tree. All the way around it, and imagine the size of that root system.
Oh yeah.
Imagine that. I don't need to water. I don't need the fertilizer. That root system has the capacity to take up a lot of food for that small tree. I mean, it's dramatic. I mean, this rocks my boat. This is huge. Like, incredible.
I still cannot believe the amount of apples on those trees.
I know.
And how easy they are.
And all of you who read books,
You need to get these branches up a couple of feet.
how can I? They're on the ground because of the weight. Look at this tree, though. Remember they tell you in books, trees have central leaders.
Yeah.
This has none. It comes off the ground and does this fork. Totally like, ah. Does this look like Japanese bonsai to you?
It does, yeah.
Well, it's a Japanese tree. It's a mutsu. And it gets like these huge yellow apples, probably 120 pounds, and they're totally awesome, but you can see all the branches are on the ground. I can't get this tree up. See, everybody else is trying to pull their trees down, trying to, short. I'm trying to get mine up. And look at this little tree over there. It's only 3 years old. Look at all the branches on the ground.
3 years?
Yeah, I can't get it up. Look at all the fruit on it.
Wow.
I mean, my challenge is trying to get elevation.
My God.
I'm trying to get my trees to grow up, but they won't because of the weight of fruit. These issues with abundance can be challenging. But just, as you walk along, just look at all my trees. I mean, they're just loaded with fruit, all of them.
This is the arugula, eh?
No, this is, Nick. I think it's a radish.
Oh.
That's a seed. See, it's going to seed there.
Yeah.
So when you go to the store and buy an apple, everybody listen to me? Everybody hear me? When you go to the store and buy an apple, they're picked green, and they're put in a unit with nitrogen to bring color and to make it look like it's ripe. So what does the producer make it look attractive? What does the producer do to make it look attractive to you? What does he put on the surface? Huh?
Make it red?
No, but what are they? Oh, look at wax. If you have a chance, there's a lot of plums on the ground here. They're pretty good. You should eat them.
This dog is eating fruit.
Yeah, why don't you? That's good. No, there's plums on the ground that fell from the wind. Pick the ripest ones. They're really good.
Oh, it's sweet.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, eat that. Is that good?
Oh my. It's delicious. Good is an understatement.
So we were talking about they put wax on apples. I want to demonstrate to you this incredible covering the Creator puts on. This is going to blow you away. I got it.
I got one here.
It's not ripe.
This one isn't?
No, not even close. It's months off from being ripe.
A couple months.
I want everybody to look at this because it's going to blow your mind. Look at the shine.
Isn't that something?
Look at that. That's not wax. You see, wax in the store is toxic. This is the natural coating God puts on apples to appeal to you. Look at that. Look at that shine. Is that awesome? I love it. I mean, at all levels, God is off the charts. It's totally amazing.
Okay, so I've been experimenting with the back to Eden
Dice que lo
technique.
estoy viendo desde Venezuela.
What's that?
Venezuela.
You're from Venezuela?
Yeah.
Well, bless you. That's a long way.
Dallas.
Well, thank you. I'm blowing out, man. I would never go to anybody's yard to look at a garden, ever. And I'm thinking people come here from all over the world is just like, really? Well, bless you. What were you going to say?
I said I've been practicing your techniques for back to Eden for 3 years now. But I don't live near a temperate rainforest. I live in a very, very, very dry climate, and I struggle with water issues in the garden. I know that this helps, and so I have to have a drip system constantly.
Don't ever use drip.
Don't ever use drip?
No.
We just put in a whole system.
Let me tell you about drip irrigation. It's the most stupid thing man has ever designed. And let me tell you from my experience what I find. People come to me because I'm an arborist and says, how come my hydrangea's, dead on 3/4 and 1/4 is totally green? I have a drip irrigation system. It comes on automatically every night. It says, well, let me show you why. Well, the emitter is, it's wet. Over here, water doesn't move that far. Those emitters can only put water in a small space. They can't spread. If you notice the Creator, how He waters is rain, overhead watering. That's the ideal. So if you don't have that, then go out at night with a hose and water the ground. When the wood chips get wet, it takes a lot to get them wet. Once they get wet, they hold water. So ideally, the best thing to do is soak the wood chips and then just be in faith. We've had major droughts here. Let me tell you my experience with these sequoia trees. You can see how they're beginning in the center there to turn yellow. You see that sequoia right there? You see in the center of the... Here's what God does. You see, those trees don't drop their needles. They're evergreens. So to get them to do it, He sends droughts. And the interior needles will turn brown and fall off and feed the ground. So when I first planted these, we had this major drought. We're talking like really dry. And the whole interior of my young trees is all brown. I'm saying, God, should I water? No. He says, don't you dare water. I mean, He was emphatic. And I says, they're dying. He says, no. He says, go look at your trees. Look at the tips. Well, the tips are bright green. That's a new growth. He says, if they're bright greens at the tip, it's in good shape. Don't water. And so I'm thinking, like, this is crazy. We got a good wind. I'm looking at the ground, and there was 4 inches of needles on the ground. I look at the trees, look like nothing came out. And what he told me was huge. He says those trees are preparing for upcoming droughts, and they're putting a cover on the ground to hold moisture. Had you watered and stopped that process, they'd have been weaker and unprepared for the future. And I totally got that day the reality that nothing in nature needs help, and if I try to help it, I mess it up, because it's way beyond my finite mind, way beyond. And so I'll just tell you about deserts. That's kind of where you live. Deserts are all man-made. God created no deserts. You following me? You don't believe me, but you follow. Right now in Africa, they're doing demonstrations that are powerful. They're coming on desert land, bringing in animals and recreating pastures and totally turning deserts around. And what caused the deserts in the first place was by taking animals off grasslands. That's what caused them. Israel's a classic demonstration of that. Israel was a land flowing with milk and honey up front. It was a very productive, awesome agricultural space. When the Israelites got displaced, the Crusaders came in, burnt everything to the ground, and Israel became a desert for 2,000 years. You follow me? Yeah. Israel was a desert for 2,000 years. They've gone back, they've repented, they're covering the ground with plant life, and it's raining and snowing in Israel, and Israel's producing the finest food in the world. I'm just telling you, when you repent and create a covering, nature comes back and responds. It's raining and snowing in Israel today. It's awesome. And all that happened was repentance. Put a cover down. Restore life. And all of nature, I'll cooperate. I'll bless. It's just, I'm telling you, it's so huge. So in your place, I would start small. Don't get big. And just keep that place watered. Keep wood chips on it. And just keep expanding. And I'm telling you, we've had major droughts here. Not as high as you, but these trees have never had any irrigation, ever. And they've never been affected by any droughts. You look at the forest out here. All those fir trees out there, they're shallow rooted. They're not deep. All those firs. And they're never watered. And we live in, Squim gets 18 inches, 14 inches of rain a year, which is similar to San Francisco. And some years much less. But they're not affected. The covering, these wood chips. Well, just, for example, look at this. You see as you get down there, it's damp. You see, that's where the roots are. See, I'm hitting roots. See, it's damp there. It just doesn't lose water. It's really an amazing material for maintaining water.
Well, I've got a bunch of wood chips all piled. I've got leaves piled. I've got grass piled. I've got everything piled. A tomato would not survive in there.
Did you plant the potato in the soil?
Absolutely.
You didn't water?
I have to water.
Yeah, well, you have to. Well, you have to water. I mean, if you're living in a desert, you have to water. Yeah. I mean, it's, you know.
Yeah. Oh, now there's another thing where they say don't water
The foliage.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to water the foliage. Well, let me just show you over here. You see, I had tomatoes. I was doing everything by the book. I have big metal plates in front of them. You'll see when we get over there that reflect the heat to the back side. And I'm planting them in these perfect places. And last year I had two tomato plants that covered an area 10 by 20 feet. Huh? No exaggeration, 10 by 20 feet. And they were loaded. I did the same thing this year. Plants are growing great. Tomatoes are on them. They're just thriving, doing beautiful. And we got a heavy rain. And those tomatoes got fungus, and they're dead and gone. It's over, completely over. I want you to notice these tomatoes under my tree over here, who got the same rain. Right over here. Just everybody check out this tomato at the base of that tree. It's in shade, which is not where you grow tomatoes. It's never been watered except by rain. That's that one.
Is that just one plant?
One plant.
Really?
Well, look at this one over here, right behind you.
Oh, yeah.
For those of you growing tomatoes with Miracle Grow and drip irrigation, do you have anything that looks that good? I mean, be honest. No. Look at that foliage. I've been gardening for 64 years. I know what plants look like when they're healthy. This is off the charts.
That is one plant.
One plant. Well, same with that one over there. And I'm getting ripe tomatoes already. There's red tomatoes in there.
And normally you're told to take the runners off.
Well, and here's what's so cool. Are you seeing how they're growing up along the tree, totally supporting themselves with no attention? You see, I keep getting that nature doesn't need help.
It doesn't. You don't have to work at it.
Look at it. I mean, with Miracle Grow and all the work you can do, you don't have anything better than that.
Nothing.
And this is under my tree in the shade, totally ignored, no attention. You know, having worked hard to fail, we wore out shovels for my dad, hand spading. We wore them out. This gets my attention.
I remember my dad gardened my whole life.
Yeah, we wore out shovels.
And he had an acre.
You know, spading heavy clay soil. And I'm looking at this. We never had stuff this good. In LA, where we had plenty of sun.
So how long would this tomato plant be in? When was it planted, or when did it come up?
I think we planted this in May, 1st of May.
Okay.
What elevation are you, Paul?
I'm 530 feet.
Wasn't that warm in May?
What's that?
It was pretty cool still in May.
Let me tell you about tomatoes. Everybody listen to me. This is important. Tomatoes are a nightshade.
Yes.
They're not good for us.
Right.
When do they show up in nature? When do they get ripe in nature? July, August, when the sun's the hottest.
Right.
You know why? That's when you need them. In cool climates where you have no sun, there's no tomatoes. They don't grow there.
Right.
And in our culture, you affluent people are buying tomatoes in January when there's no sun. It's a nightshade. It's not good for you. It has no flavor. It's grown in a greenhouse. And it doesn't taste good. And you're paying money for this. I mean, it's so stupid. It's a nightshade. And the creator only has it showing up at the time of year you need it because you shouldn't eat it all year long. It's huge. It's so significant. And we have greenhouses. You know what?
Strawberries.
Strawberries, everything should be eaten in season.
Right.
And let me give you the demonstration. All the animals in nature that carry no health insurance, have no refrigerators, no stoves, take no supplements, live long, full lives with no disease, no illness. And how do they live? They eat food fresh in season locally. Locally. That's very significant. They don't import stuff. They're not eating bananas here. I'm just being real with you.
You don't eat bananas.
Well, I will, but I'm just saying I shouldn't. I don't need them. Wherever you live, you have everything you need by design.
Okay.
I grew up with kumquats and avocados and persimmons and bananas and all kinds of stuff. I don't eat anymore because they're no good. I buy avocados because I like those and they're still okay, but I'll never eat an orange again because they're not oranges. I had real oranges when I was a kid. and the stuff in the store isn't an orange. It's a pathetic, I don't know what it is, but it's not an orange. And when you've had the real, the counterfeit will never satisfy.
Yeah, true.
And so I'll wait to heaven. I'll get plenty of, over the next 1,000 years we'll be doing it here.
But even the organic oranges, no.
They're no good. Because organic doesn't mean anything anymore. They changed all the rules.
Oh, yeah.
I want to give you that demonstration. Could I get somebody here to excavate some soil here and pick it up and smell it? Just pull the witches back and go down into the there you go, and pick up that black stuff and smell it.
I know it smells like soil.
There you go. Now it has a very strong mineral odor and it's very pleasant. I want you to hear me. If you go to the organic farms that raise your food and you pick up their soil, it has no odor. There's nothing there because there's no minerals. That odor is the odor of minerals.
Is that what it is?
That's what it's minerals. That's what minerals smell like. They're sweet. They're very pleasant.
Yeah.
But organic farms, when you pick up their soil, and I've done it, there's no odor. There's nothing there because there's no minerals. See, NPK is not the full spectrum.
Right.
Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium is not all of it. It's a very small part. And that's all they put back, whether it's organic or non-organic, that's all they put back.
We used to, my dad had commercial greenhouses.
Uh-huh.
We used to grow tomatoes in sawdust and add all of the nutrients to the sawdust. Basically make up a batch. And it was full, we grew them in minerals. Like the stuff smelled like the soil.
Yeah.
The water. Yeah, no, that soil is just unreal.
Now, for any of you gardeners, you should look at this soil. Yeah. Those of you who've worked hard to make nice soil, I want you to look at this stuff and handle it.
Like, you got to check it out.
Really, anybody who's tried to create good soil, look at this.
You can't buy soil.
And what I want you to get is I did nothing. Yeah. This happened by putting witches on the ground and me leaving it. This is all a free, natural process which cannot be compared to anything you buy.
You can't buy it.
You can never buy that.
Yeah.
And what I'm loving about this is an ongoing process that never ends, that only multiplies. And I never do any work. I never pay any money. It's all free and done for me. I mean, can it get better? Can this get better? It's awesome.
Yeah. Wow. And there's the biggest celery going to be over here.
That's not even. Now let me tell you something. You know what's happening on our planet today? Are you all aware that this poor kid, that's not even ripe. But it's probably better than what.
He says very good.
I know, because he hasn't had anything good. When my stuff gets ripe, it's off the charts. It's so good. But anyway, what's happening to the planet today, if you're paying attention, is that these farmers that go to school that have college educations who are well educated in growing things are using more and more pesticides every year. Pesticides. In the bee population, the world is declining at a scary rate. Are you hearing me? And what these farmers don't get is if you don't have bees, you're not going to have food. Did you hear me? What the Creator showed me is awesome. You see in my trees over here, you see how the tree has yellow apples and red apples in the same tree? I'm grafting. And here's the power of grafting. When you graft into a tree multiple varieties without bees, when the wind blows, because they're close, they'll cross-pollinate. And I will have fruit forever with or without bees. This is huge. This is so huge. I think it's awesome. And the beauty of this is, see, my orchard's quite full. So if I want a new variety, I have no room. But by grafting, I can always be putting in new varieties endlessly. No end of it. It's so cool. And they're not even ripe. They're like months from being ripe. When they get ripe, they're just, I mean, the sugar is just off the charts. It's so cool. It's not even ripe. It's not even close.
Oh, there's nasturtiums.
Yeah. See over here, you see this one branch of all green apples and all the red ones, you know? And I think that looks cool in the tree. Having multiple, it's just it's attractive.
You could do that with blueberries. Huh?
Yeah, it has to be apple to apple, pear to pear, blueberry. You can't. God's not in disorder.
Right.
It's all got to be in order. But you can always graft in the same variety, multiple varieties.
You don't cross graft or cross pollinate with
Yeah.
pears.
How
and
do you
apples.
graft?
Let me show you how to graft. If you read books, they make it very hard. I asked the creator how, and he made it so easy. You're going to blow your mind. I'm going to show you over here. I had an interesting experience last year. I think it's so cool that I keep getting this stuff that I've never seen before. I've been doing this forever. But I have a pear tree over here, a Bosc pear, which is really a good pear, but this pear has never borne, it's an old tree, you can see it's quite big, and it's never had more than 6 pears ever, and some years none. So I'm thinking, like, you know what, and I got pear trees right here. They're right here. It's like only maybe 35 feet away from it. And it's not getting cross-pollinated. So I says, you know what, I'm over this. I'm going to start grafting into it other varieties so I can get something off this tree because it's just taking up space and not being any good. So I grafted into this tree a year ago, and this spring the Holy Spirit really was on me. He says, I want you to pay attention to the amount of bloom on that graft you dig because it was like dramatic. It was like white flowers everywhere. So I'm looking at it, and I'm impressed. What has my attention now is that this Bosc pear is full of pears. The tree's loaded. And what I got in the spirit was, I want you to hear me, it's one thing when a bee has to go from there to there with pollen. It's something else when the pollen's in the tree itself and the wind blows and it covers the whole space. Something about local pollination is so far beyond what a bee does. And I was totally blown away. I mean, wow, this really got my attention. And so now I'm just more and more motivated to graft in my trees just for the pollination benefit because it's just so much more effective than bees. Is anybody growing kale? Huh? Come over here. You kale growers. How does this kale look under my tree? Does anybody not like kale?
This is kale?
Yeah. Does somebody not like it? Anybody? You could be.
I don't usually like it.
Okay, good.
I find it tough.
Come here. This is now. I want you to watch her response. This is going to be tough and bitter.
Yeah.
Start there and talk to me. Eat that and talk to me. Be honest. If it's tough and bitter, just really express what that's like.
It's easy to chew.
So it's not tough.
It's not tough.
How about the bitterness?
It's not.
No.
Are you getting it? Are you understanding that this is how kale's supposed to taste?
Tastes like the kale I've ever had.
My point is, this is how kale's supposed to taste.
Okay, thank you. Yeah,
What you had in the past wasn't kale.
I'm having my first kale today.
You are. And this is what I want you to get. I want you to really experience what real food tastes like.
Yeah, because usually I only have it when it's really cooked.
And then you cook it because you're trying to make it
Because
soft.
I'm trying to, yeah, exactly.
Because it's tough.
Because I can't deal with it in salad
Yeah.
now.
I'm just telling you, man, real food is awesome. Does someone have a knife?
Yep.
Come here, I need your help. Okay,
I got one right there.
let me get this zucchini out here. I'm going to have you cut this up and hand out pieces.
Okay.
You just twist that one off right
This
there.
one right here?
Just twist. Now for someone who wants a really great experience, I want you to eat this flour. This flour is off the charts delicious. Somebody try that out.
Are you chicken?
No, just the flours. You'll be surprised how good it is. And you slice that up and just hand people pieces. Now,
do we eat this part or
just cut that top. But look at all the water coming out of that.
Yeah.
You see, we just broke this off. You see all the water coming out of that? And this is the plant that gets no irrigation. Try to eat it. That must have been pretty hard, huh? Now, would you cook that?
Cooking is not necessary. There's more nutrients in this.
See, when you cook food, you kill enzymes.
Yeah.
And I always go back to the beginning. If you notice in the garden, God didn't issue Adam and Eve a stove and refrigerator. You're laughing, but I'm not. We were never designed to put live food in the refrigerator and let it die and then cook and kill all the enzymes. It's not by design.
Thank you. I think I've never had.
Is that pretty good?
It's good.
Again, zucchini for the first time.
Real zucchini. This is how zucchini is supposed to taste. I mean, this is how it's really.
No,
This
you
is.
set the bar so high, this is going to be really sad.
I'm just telling you, the Creator made everything good. He's a good God. He cares. He's a Father. He didn't make bad things. And when something doesn't taste good, it was messed with. It was altered. It's not by design.
So how will this stuff grow before you have trees this mature to shade them?
Well, you see my garden over here?
Oh, never mind.
It's doing quite well. The trees are just an asset. Again, this is something I'm learning now. I didn't get this before, but I'm so motivated now. Well, just look over here at my potatoes. All those purple flowers under the apple trees. Just how big and huge they are. It's just dramatic. Anybody growing potatoes? I mean, look at the size of those things. They're going through my trees.
I think part of the reason that like even with the like you were saying that you cross-pollinated those things, you're open to
guidance.
Yeah.
Well, I just know I don't know much. I haven't lived very long.
Humility and guidance.
You know, and again, when the Creator showed me how nature works, I'm realizing nature's been in operation for over 6,000 years of human recorded history. I'm the new guy on the block. Did you hear me? I'm the young guy. I don't know much. Why would I try to tell them or try to alter what they're doing? It's stupid. They know better. They've demonstrated it for a long time. I should be observing them and paying attention and changing. Now, where's that lady talking about beets? Go look at my beets. And when you walk in there, I want you to examine them. And if you see something you like, you pull it.
That part of
Yes.
the garden, is that screen?
Oh, hi.
Okay.
Yo le voy a decir esto.
He wants to know.
Puedo poder explicar aquí.
Baby, traduce, por favor.
She's wondering when you cut
Oh,
trees.
pruning.
Yes.
Lady's asking about pruning. I like to prune. Everybody listen to me. I like to prune in January when the trees are dormant. Here's why.
Okay.
It's convenient. In January, there's no lawn to mow, there's no garden to take care of, and there's no leaves in the trees, so they're very accessible. So it's called convenience. Now, all summer long, if you notice my trees, if you haven't paid attention, this is abnormal. All trees you see in orchard have tons of shoots going up out of the center. Mine have none. Because I walk out here all summer long, and when little ones show up, I rub them off when they're little. Here's why. Now this is hilarious. She's pointing. I want you to see this. You see this amount of growth? This is a dwarf tree, and this happened this year. This is not 1 year's growth. Look at how thick that wood is and how tall that is. That's a dwarf tree. They're not supposed to grow like that. This is not normal for a dwarf tree. I prune trees for a living, and I go to people's farms that have trees, and they're putting out 6 to 8 inches of growth a year. Look at this thing. This is nuts, and it's not.
We've had a bizarre year because I'm from Victoria, and I have never seen stuff ever on the island grow like it's growing this year.
Yeah.
Ah, le pica esto por ejemplo aquí.
Where you? She's asking about pruning. Everybody hear me? Pruning is an art form. It is not a science. And the only culture in the world who's mastered pruning, who knows how to prune, are the Japanese. No other culture knows how to prune. And everywhere you go in the world, and you see trees pruned, you see everything hacked off on the ends, all kinds of stuff in your face, and they're ugly. The Japanese don't do that. they get into the inside of the tree and they work from the inside out. They open it up and they arrange everything in place, and it looks totally awesome because that's the design. When you think about the order in nature, how does the Creator work with us? From the inside out. I'm seeing these principles in nature are in everything. It's totally awesome, you know. And pruning is, the beauty about pruning, here's something I want to show you about pruning. This is something in all books you get on pruning. They tell you never cut the collar. You follow me? The collar is this line. You see a branch coming off here? You see this line right next to it? Okay. That's the collar. And they tell you, never cut the collar. Are you following me? And every place you've seen where they cut beyond the collar, you get this little stump with all kinds of suckers growing out of it, and then the collar can't grow over the stump, and it rots underneath it, you have a cavity. I want you to notice in my tree, well, first of all, let me tell you what the Creator told me. He's got a sense of humor. It's hilarious. I'm saying, now God, where do I make my cuts? He says, I made a line, cut to the line. He made it so easy. And let me show you what happens. You see all the places here where I cut to the line, you see how incredibly they heal? Look close. You see all these places I cut, there's no cavity. Everything is totally healed because the collar grows over the cut. And it's totally awesome. Yeah, look at that tree over there. You can see all of the branches. See all those little places I had branches. You can see where it's totally healed beautifully. No cavities. I'm telling you, man, I love it. I made a line. Cut to the line. It's so easy.
So why is that soil different over there?
That soil is different over there because it's screened.
Okay.
Here's what I say: as you get older, convenience makes sense. You see here as I move this, you see below, it looks like that. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking this stuff and I'm screening it, and I take the fine stuff and put there so I can plant right in it. I have to take a rake and pull it back, and it's totally accessible. I put the heavy stuff out here. So that's all wood chips, but it's all screened. So seeds are directly available. I can put right in it, so it makes it really, really easy. Did you find a beet you like? There's red ones and yellow ones, orange ones. So I want you. You don't have to do it on your way out today. You pick one and you take it home and eat it. And the greens are awesome. The greens are really good. You can see the density of my beets. You see they're not thin. Because see, in wood chips the ground is so soft they just push themselves out of each other's way. You don't have to thin. So let me show you about grafting. You see this tree right here? This is a pear tree. And you can see the pears on it. You see this branch right here? You can see the leaves are different than all the rest. You see that black tape right there? Mm-hmm. I grafted that. You see right over here? Mm-hmm. There's another one. Mm-hmm. That's coming on later. So how you do it, everybody listen to me, this is real important. The only living part of the tree is the cambium layer below the bark, the green. The center of the tree is not living. It's there for support, but it's not living. That's why you see trees with cavities, great big holes in the center, growing just fine, because the cambium is intact and it's feeding everything. So what you want to make sure is that what you're grafting into and grafting with are the same diameter. Okay? So what you do is you take your saw and you cut off what you want to graft into just straight across, and you take your pruner, hand pruner, and split it in the center. Cut it. Mm-hmm. Then you take what you're grafting with and you cut it angle like this. You take your hand like this, you cut it, and so you slide it into that opening. And here's the beauty of tape: as you wrap with the tape, you pull everything into alignment so they connect. Because it's wrapped with the tape, it's going to make it immovable, so it's not going to change. Because it's wrapped with the tape, it keeps all the air out so it doesn't dry, and because it's black when the sun hits it, it gets warm and heals quicker. I'm loving God. And he told me it was so cool. He says, make sure you buy the cheap stuff from Taiwan because it stretches. The good U.S. electrical tape won't stretch. And you want to stretch. So I love this. It's so easy. All you need is a roll of black tape and a pruning and graft all day long.
So you just, same thing, just cut it out before.
Yeah. And here's the timing is critical. You cut the cyanwood, what you want to graft with, in the winter when it's dormant. And then when the sap starts coming into the tree, you start seeing the buds swell, that's when you plug it in.
Wow.
Very important, the timing. But I love this, man. It's just,
Yeah, say that again.
you cut the wood you want to use for grafting in the winter when the tree's dormant. No leaves, all the sap's out, it's taking a nap.
So you're cutting the
The piece you want to graft, this piece here I want to graft with, and then you keep it in a cool place, and then in the spring, as soon as you start seeing the buds swell, you see the sap coming in, plug it in. And here's what's cool. You're walking around and you're seeing in your orchard all these leaves and just stick here. This one here was hilarious because this took forever to take. And all spring I'm watching, is this going to take? But I'm thinking, I'll just wait. And sure enough, but it took forever. But this came on quicker. But all of a sudden you come out one day and there's little buds. It's there, and we're good, you know. Wow. And you see right over there where Nick is, you see that graft there? You look at all the fruit. That's just 1 year's graft. This is the second year. Look how nice that's healed in, and look at all the fruit on it.
You know, when you prune, you can sell your excess.
Sell my excess pruning?
Yes. People want your tree branches.
Oh well, they're welcome to it. Yeah, you can have it all. Oh, this is so cool. I love this. Yay, God! Does anybody here not like asparagus? Is anybody here can be expressive? Like really explain what you're going through here. Because you're going to get the most incredible sensation you've ever had in your life. Where's that lady who has a hard time with irrigation? Lives in a place where it has drip irrigation and things aren't growing well because there's no water. Come here. Bring her here. I want her here because I want to give her something. Come here. I have something for you. This is July, and this is not when asparagus is available. Yeah. And this is without irrigation, and this blew in here by a seed. Now you know from experience that this is going to be tough and stringy. I want you to start there and eat your way back and talk to us, and be very expressive, very, very honest.
It's juicy and tender. There's a little bit of fibrous stuff on the outside, but the rest of it, you can see the juice coming out of it.
Water, yeah.
Yeah.
Keep eating it. Now, would you cook that?
Absolutely.
You would?
You'd cook it?
I would. I'd steam it.
Oh.
But I would.
You just like cooked food. I like things that, you know, when you cook food, it's not the same. It's soft. It's mushy. You know, it's not.
That was a trick question.
No, I'm being honest.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Okay.
I would steam it, just barely though.
Okay, just to warm it up.
Just so you didn't.
Not to soften it because it's not tough.
No, I don't like to soften it anyway. I like it crispy.
Do you eat everything raw?
As much as I can, I eat the potatoes and some of the winter squash stuff I cook, but as much as I can eat raw, because you see, when you cook food, you kill enzymes. Enzymes are what cause it to digest and feed your body, which is really important. Here's the irony of how intelligent beings don't think. My food has no shelf life. I could pick my lettuce, and in minutes it's wilting. In minutes. I had a guy come here on a tour, and I gave him celery. Celery is stiff. In a half hour, it totally wilted over his arm. He couldn't believe it. You can go to the store and pay top dollar for vegetables that sit on that shelf for a whole week and never change. You know why? They have no enzymes. There's no enzymes present. See, enzymes are created in produce to either give nutrition to the body or turn it back to dirt on the ground. That's their purpose. They're wanting to break it down. And when you have food sit on the shelf for a week in the store and not change, it's telling you, I'm dead. There's no life force here.
So do you put this food up for the winter?
No, I eat everything. I have live food all winter. That kale feeds me all winter. That kale, all winter long I eat kale. And I have cilantro. And I have beets and carrots, root vegetables. And I have potatoes. I store those in boxes, but they're good. So I have live food the whole year. And people always ask, how do you eat in the wintertime? Well, what do animals do in the winter? I mean, the bear takes a nap, but all the rest eat all winter. In Alaska, 40 below zero, the animals are eating because the ground's covered and nothing dies. But on everybody's farm next to nature, with exposed ground, everything freezes and dies. I mean, it's so basic, it's so simple. And how we keep creating all this stuff that's hard and unrealistic because We got lied to and we're doing stupid things.
Is the purple plant there kale as well?
That's kale, yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you go take a leaf and try it out? What's that?
Can I have one?
One of the small leaves up top. Like right here. Take this nice, tender little one right there. I mean, go for the best.
I have trouble seeing, so I'm trying to figure out how to...
Okay. Now, you're good. Yeah, now start.
Well, he's getting one for Alex here.
Okay, all right. Yeah, start at the stem, and each your way back and talk to us.
Wow. It's really good. It's really sweet.
Which is not normal. It's supposed to be bitter.
No, it's not.
Isn't that good?
It's really good.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. And look at the color. I mean, you don't. But for
It's my favorite shade of purple.
this is an awesome color.
I'm looking at it through my phone.
So everybody, come over here and help yourself to raspberries. They're really good.
This way, Alex. So yeah, there's a branch. Go right back there.
Oops.
Anybody here around organic farms? Come here. Anybody's like some of the around organic. I want you to come here. So I want to show you something. What are you? Now in the organic farms, does zucchini look like that? I mean, look at the size of those leaves and that color.
That was crazy.
I'm loving this. This is like, it's under my tree.
This is awesome.
This is like, I mean, people who work at it don't get
My
this.
husband worked on one of the local organic farms and was so disheartened because they put him on a tractor and he had to till up the ground. He was
Oh.
like, "I can't do this.
This is not
This
right."
is worse than building bombs."
Yeah, I love this. And this is growing under my tree, totally unintentional. No water, no fertilizer, nothing. Just
This is exactly true.
this is normal. This is how it's supposed to be.
What would you do in a forested area?
Oh, just open up spaces under your trees and grow stuff. If you look in the forest,
We've been so frustrated with our forest.
well, just open up spaces,
Just open up spaces.
and then just go out there and just create. Trees are crowded anyway, so they do better open up and start opening up. And then what I do, if you look at my trees in the back, so I climb up them and take all the branches out.
That's what we've been doing.
And so I get light coming through.
That's exactly what we've been doing.
And so just start. You're
Just
gonna be.
felt better.
Well, you're gonna see. I mean, you'll see under my trees and stuff how well things are growing. Look at this. This is under a tree. Look at the kale. That's really in shade.
I've been so frustrated with all of our shade and
Well, look at it.
It's like
This is why you came today.
This is why. Yes.
God really loves you.
I know.
And He cares, and He wants to give you hope. Really, He's wanting to give you hope. You can do this. And just as you're out there, just talk to Him. Where do I plant this? Where do I plant that? And He'll show you these spaces, these little warm spots, these little, whatever space. You can do stuff
Just
because
from seeing what you've done, I can kind of identify what we've
because
already
He's
been
so good.
talking about.
He's so good. So when plants go to seed, everybody hear me? When plants go to seed, they bolt. How do they taste at that point? Huh?
They don't taste good.
They don't taste good. So this is kale. It's gone to seed. Can I get some skeptic? Somebody that doesn't think this is going to taste good? I'm serious. Somebody who doesn't think this is going to be any good to experiment.
I believe it's going to taste good, so I'm not a good kale.
You don't like kale?
No, I said I know it's going to taste good, so he told me to do it. I
Okay.
didn't think I was a good candidate because I know it'll taste good.
Okay, well, just talk to us.
That's really good.
And see,
I knew that.
and see, it's gone to seed. You know, just you see, this is trying to create seed, and this is when it's bolting.
It almost tastes like a reddish.
Yeah, but I'm so enjoying that all the stuff that I thought was real isn't,
I pinched where I bit off.
and it's really good. God made everything good.
No, I don't like that.
I'm just full.
Water fountain, Paul.
What's that?
Where's your water fountain? You said is it just
Right here is a hose. You need water? Want some water?
Yeah.
Okay, let the water run out so you get the water out of the hose, and you can get it right there.
Good, thank you.
But, you know, like I said, let it run for a bit because the water in the hose is going to be hot and funky. If anybody has a water bottle, right here's a water, faucet you can fill up, and this water is really good. You'll see.
Are those the only hives you have? Those?
Yeah, well, I have all my buildings over here. That building in my barn have all these holes in it, and you see where the woodpeckers, poke holes in my trees. Those are all working for mason bees. It's awesome. Did anybody get raspberries?
Yeah, very good.
Was it okay? You know what's amazing to me about these raspberries this year? I come out here every morning and I have breakfast. I'm serious. That's all I eat all day long. And I think I get them all. And I come back the next morning and they're all there again. And this has been going on for months. These things should be way over being done. I mean, well, look at the new shoots coming through at the top. Those are next year's growth. These things should be done. And they're not stopping. It's just like, it blows my mind. Like, you got to be kidding, man. It's just like, this is just, this season's over, but it's not,
Did you cut those back at all?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. I wish you could. Here's the insanity of agriculture. You go to farms that have blueberries, raspberries, you'll see all these dead canes in amongst all the rest. It is, once they start producing, it's over. They're done for life. Why leave dead in there? So as soon as I get these done, I'm going to cut all that out, and then I leave all the rest. Now here's the irony, and I wish you could see it when they were producing. The tops of all my raspberries were loaded with fruit and they're all hanging over. And all these commercial farmers cut the tops off. I mean, do you really want to reduce your production? It's like you're intentionally doing it wrong. I mean, what's the point in cutting the tops? When they get fruit, they're going to bend over. You'll reach them. It's just so dumb. And it's labor. It takes time to go cut them off. So work to fail. I don't get it. It's just, the stuff they do makes no sense. And these are people who are in the business, trying to make a living from it.
So they produce and then you cut them after they...
Well, yeah. Well, you see all those ones that are producing. If you look at all this new growth, this is next year's production, and so all this stuff that's born is over. And so I'm going to go in there as soon as I can once they stop. They're not stopping, and cut them all off at the base, get them out, and make room for the new growth. Why leave congestion? Again, dead on any level is no good. You don't leave dead on anything. And here they go leaving this stuff. It's just like, I don't understand the thought process because it's over. Why leave it there?
Do you add compost to your ground?
No. Wood chips occasionally when I need it.
Okay. But you don't add anything to help it?
Wood chips only. Look at nature. Look at the forest. Look at the forest. What is added other than needles, leaves, and twigs? Again, if you look at nature, it's so simple, and it's so clear.
I know.
Look how beautiful the forest is. Nobody fertilizes.
I know it, right?
It's just all maintained by needles, leaves, and twigs. It's just like, look at these. Are there any young people here? Young people.
How young?
I want you to show you something. You see these sequoia trees here?
Yes.
You see the size of that tree?
Yes.
How old do you think that is? What's that?
50 years old?
It's 22 years old.
22. Wow.
So you young people, you can plant a forest. Did you hear me? You can plant a forest.
And
day of your birthday. I've way over 60 trees planted.
Awesome. That's so good. I think, yeah, just, you know, planting trees are just so beneficial. And you know what's so interesting about trees? God's really shown me some powerful things about trees. We heat with wood because it's the finest heat source there is. It's the same as the sun. You see how the sun right now, the heat from the sun is going through your tissue, through your skin, right through your body. It's thermal. The only other heat that does that is wood heat. If you go into a house with a wood stove, it's the same sensation. It goes right into you. It's thermal. Electric, gas, propane doesn't do that. So I asked the Creator why. He told me it was powerful. He says the trees are taking in photosynthesis from the sun, and they store it in their cells, and when it's burned, they give it back. It's the same heat. And I thought, wow, God, that is awesome. And here's the beauty of it. Trees are renewable. Everything else we're using for heat isn't. Trees are renewable. They grow back. So it's the most amazing product for producing heat on the planet because it's the same heat as you get from the sun. I think God is awesome, man. He just does things so totally amazing.
What are these blackberries on there?
Those are currant. Eat them. They're good. Yeah. Yeah, eat the currants. Help yourself because they're good.
What is that plant going over there?
I don't remember this. It's a flower. It has a flower. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know its name. Nick, do you know what's this plant over here? The flower.
Is that one with the wooden stick beside it?
Right over there. Those ones on the ground. It has a flower.
Looks like columbine.
Columbine?
Looks like it.
No, lupin's down there. Lupin's over there. Columbine. Okay. Thank you. See my mason bee houses? Mason bees are such wonderful pollinators. They're so superior to honeybees. You know, honeybees are poor pollinators. And they're not native to America. They're brought here from Europe. These are far better pollinators. Because when it's cold in April and my trees are blooming, they have honey at home. They don't come out because it's too cold. These guys have no honey, and anything that blooms are on it. So they're very, very effective. I have water right here. I turn it on, and it's let it run a bit. Get the water out of get the dirt out. It's really good.
Well, I was thinking in particular.
Yeah, fill your canteen.
I was thinking in particular the water for the masons, but yeah.
This is to drink that and see how good that is.
Same as the stuff that comes from the same place in Victoria.
That good water?
Yeah, you know that our water our water out in Machosen and stuff, it comes from the Olympic Peninsula.
Yeah.
It comes underneath the ocean.
I love good water. Is such a gift. I feel so thankful. I grew up in LA. The water out of the faucet, beside chlorine and fluoride, it was always hot. Never refreshing. This is refreshing. It's so cold. 45 degrees. Look at the beautiful color of that bead. Is that awesome?
Sorry, that's the best bead I've ever had.
And look at the size of it. It should be getting tough,
I just have to tell a story. My mom brought home some 4x4s from a lumber yard that were going to be tossed, and she put them on the dining room table, and by hand she made the holes for the bead.
Good for her.
And then she gifted all of the 4x4s to us kids.
How sweet of your mom.
Yeah.
What a sweet mom.
Yeah. Come on, man.
You want to get a picture? Yeah. Hey, you folks over there, listen. Can I get you to come? Because Nick wants to get a picture. We want to get a picture. Thank you.
Tell us what to do.
Everybody get here in front of the garden in a group.
it okay if we sit down?
Yeah, sure.
You got company.
It's okay if we sit down. Yeah.
How many dogs do you have?
I have 2 dogs.
People in.
Yeah, that's good. We got to turn around, Alex.
He's going to save a spot here for Nick.
And then it's going to take 5 pictures. Then I'm going to check it because last weekend they all turned out blurry.
Oh.
Could you guys on the end
Scoot in a little bit.
tell us?
So your main diet is plant-based?
What's that?
Is your main diet plant-based?
Yes, for sure. Yep. I eat eggs, my chickens, but otherwise, pretty much all plants.
Making their way.
Thank you.
Come on in here.
Good day.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Cool.
Go check it. Go check it. Make sure you got it right.
Oh, he's eating carrot. Good dog.
Yep.
Because they taste good.
Perfect. All right.
Right.
So if you want a copy of that picture, you can email me. I'll email it to you. If you want it.
That's really
If you see the dog here is eating the carrot, because it's good. If you like carrots, it's right there. Just do me a favor. Don't put the tops on the ground. We'll save them to give them to the chickens. The chickens are over here at the very end.
For everything right over here.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Nick. The carrots are right here.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Right here, yeah, you got them.
The Spanish. De España. Que lo voy a ver.
I kept hearing here.
Desde España que lo voy a ver.
She's going to be watching youth from Spain.
Oh.
She knows you through YouTube videos.
Uh-huh. Yeah, see, he's the guy who does the YouTube.
Okay, yeah. She's always watching the videos.
Well, thank you, and bless you.
Ay, y bendiciones.
Ah,
Bendiciones.
Bless you.
igualmente. Dice
same to
de
you.
que Cristian.
Are you,
I'm a believer.
And
I know the Father.
Sí,
He's
él
good.
es un creyente. Y conoce a Dios.
And you. And they.
We are super.
God is good. God is so good.
Okay,
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Glad you could come. Now I want everybody to run that carrot by your nose. I want to show you something. You see that aroma? When you buy organic carrots in the store, they don't have an aroma. And here's why. In 10 minutes after fruits and vegetables are picked, they can lose up to 80% of the metabolic properties. And this is why we're supposed to eat things immediately. There's more nutrition. And you see, you men with a grinder, if you pull the plug, see, anything disconnected from its life force dies. And this is why it's so important to pick and eat food. Don't store it. You want to eat it right away because it's when it's the best.
Did you ever think about going on a grander scale, or do you always want to stay smaller, like in terms of having a larger farm?
I'm 70 years old. I'm not I'm not.
Along the way through, like all the way through, did you ever think about?
No, this is not a farm. This is my home. I do this for my family.
Yeah. So
I've never sold anything. I've never had any intent of selling anything. It's just all about eating good food. Yeah, I've never sold anything. Here, right behind you is I got carrots planted, so it's coming up for winter. So I don't want to walk in there.
Oh, here?
Yeah. Yeah, see that big space in there? I just planted carrot seed. But see what's so cool? See, if that was a tilled garden, you'd have major big footprints where you just sunk in there and messed it up. But you can't even tell you stepped on it.
No.
I love this stuff, man. It's awesome. Yeah, get in there and just wiggle it loose. You got it. Don't give up. Just... Yeah, just keep working at it. You got it. Good boy. Now, you got 2 of them there, so take them both. There you go.
Did you make any books?
What's that?
Did you make any books?
No, a man wrote a book for me. It's called Growing Food God's Way by David Devine. It's on the, right now. It's only on you can get it on the computer, like eBay. But Kindle, excuse me. But he hopes by September to put it back into print. It should be back in print. But it's Growing Food God's Way by David Devine. And it's a biography of me, and someone wrote a book. Here, don't walk in this. This is just got planted. Now I want again just to you know, cilantro has bolted. I want you, especially those who don't think you like it, go and snap the top of that off and eat it and see how good it is. Right here, yeah, it's right here. Yeah, just yeah, not eat it, and then start at the stem where you broke it off, and eat that and talk to me about the flavor. How's that taste?
Very good.
And this is bolted. This is, you know, gone to seed. When it's fresh, it's like off the charts, man. Oh, that's planted. That's if you look close, there's little spinach coming up under your tripod.
Try some cilantro. You like cilantro? There you go.
Oh, what'd you say was bolting?
The cilantro. And I had everybody eat it because it's so good. Go sample that.
Know everything, huh? I told you that. Just...
Ask about your prescription for slugs.
Prescription for slugs. The lady has a question. What do you do about slugs? Is you grow nutrient-dense plants and never touch them. My lawn is full of slugs here every morning, and not one go in my garden. Because my plants are full of water. Are you following me? You see a slug, a bug wants fiber, cellulose, and they can't get it from my plants. They have to go after some stress dehydrated plant to get it because my plants are full of water. And so bugs and slugs don't ever eat my plants. And so I go out here and just pick them up and take in my chickens, feed my chickens at my leisure, but it's not like I have to. But they're never a problem. You see how the dog just went out there and pulled the carrot? Are you getting this? You see now your poor dogs that you have at home, they have to eat this dead, dried, funky dog food that you feed them maybe twice a day. My dogs, at their convenience, whenever they're hungry, just walk out in the garden and help themselves. I mean, they have, what a life. This is so right. This is kind of how it should be, you know?
Is this the way it was meant to be?
I think so. I think this is kind of by design.
I've never seen a dog eat plums.
I know.
That was the first.
But when you think about it logically, why wouldn't they? It tastes good. They have taste buds. They're not stupid. Now, does anybody know about growing, corn in Western Washington where it's cool? Corn needs a lot of heat. And if you look at corn, they're usually really tall. You follow me? I want you to observe this corn over here and pay attention to the amount of ears that are already formed on that short corn. That is phenomenal. And Nick, you said there were 5 ears on one stalk?
Yeah, on one plant.
On one plant there were 5 ears. This is off the charts. At best you get 2. So everybody hear me? Where you get this seed, this is called spring corn, and it comes from a place called Fedco Seeds in Maine. This is amazing, the production. It's totally off the charts.
What's the variety?
Spring. It's called spring, and it comes from Fedco in Maine. Really an awesome variety.
we're going to have to go.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your
Well,
work,
thank you.
Administrator.
Bless you. All
And
right.
I'll see you again this summer.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, when you first started putting wood chips down, the first few years, did you have issues with it growing?
Yeah, everything's been progression. When I first started, it was weak, and every year it gets better. It's a constant improvement.
I'm in my second year on where I'm growing now. Things that I planted last year that didn't come up, came up this year, and grew phenomenally. Things that I planted this year came up, died off, or came up and took forever to take off. Squash took 2 months to start producing squash, which is kind of out of the ordinary.
But it was cool this year. I noticed we had a warm, we had some warm weather in March was unusual, but April was really cool. So there's so many variables. But what I'm seeing here, just after being here 40 years, is that nutrient density is huge.
Right.
And every year, my produce improves. And sometimes you lose things. It's okay. Just replant.
Well, it's frustrating because I only have 150 square feet.
Well, yeah, just do what you can. And I'm finding what really helps is being thankful. Scripture says, in everything give thanks. In everything give thanks. Father, thank you. That failed, but I have this. And just don't focus on what you lost. Focus on what you have.
Yeah, I put all these plants in this lady's garden bed, and we put heather in there, and all the heather died. So anyway, she's like, "Oh, I want more heather." I said, "I'm not putting heather back in there. It's going to die. It doesn't like the
conditions here.
Condition. Everything else is thriving. But I'm going to throw some wood chips on it."
Let me tell you about heather. This is I think it will help some of you. We live in the country here, and we have a septic system. All of our wastewater goes into a big tank and then goes into a drain field. We had some friends on Battleground, Oregon, who built this beautiful home for themselves, and the county designed a mound system. They designed it and specified the type of sand to fill it with, and they spent $12,000 to do this drain field, and it failed. Water's leaking out the top. The county, in their kindness, required them at their expense to remove all that material and use another grade of sand, scrapping all the piping below, and do it all at their expense. This is the county's ruling. Are you following me? So they called me. I went down and said, "I'll tell you, we'll fix this." We covered the whole mound with wood chips. I got Mediterranean Peak heather, and we planted 1-gallon plants in the whole thing. And this thing is gorgeous today. Instead of this ugly, funky mound of sand, it's totally covered with wood chips. Gorgeous Mediterranean Peak heather covering the whole thing, and it's not leaking, and didn't fail. The county came back and they inspected. No water. You're good. And it cost them nothing for the wood chips. They had to pay a few dollars for the 1-gallon plants. But I'm telling you, wood chips are amazing for displacing water. They're totally off the charts. Incredible. I had experience here. You see, when I built a log house, we had 3 children. We eventually got 7. So I did an addition over here. But when we came here, we're in Jefferson County, and this soil is heavy clay, and we barely passed to have a conventional drain field, conventional septic system with a 2-bedroom house. So when I built this house, I wanted to expand my drain field. I said, "Oh no, you can't do that. We got to do a mound system." I says, "I'm not going there. Mound systems are a failure. You have to have pumps that can fail, and the whole thing is disastrous. I'm not doing it." So the law in Washington State, what makes a bedroom is a closet. So I have a 5-bedroom house that's labeled at the county as a 2-bedroom house because I only have 2 closets. So the county's obviously mad. So they sent the health department out here. And I says, "Yeah, let's check it out. You can see my drain field. You can see those 3 lines of grass over there, much thicker, and it goes into my herb garden." So I dug down and I exposed the rock in the pipe. I says, "Where's the water going? We know it's not going down because it's blue clay. Where's it going?" And they were in total shock. They couldn't answer. So they sent an engineer out here. We're talking an engineer. And I says, "I want to show you something interesting here." So this is like in the wintertime. I took him on the outside of my fence there, and we dug a hole. In 8 inches, there's water running. It's not just standing. There's actually water running at 8 inches in my blue clay. He came into my orchard, and he dug 1.5 feet down and couldn't find water. Did you hear me? For the water to get there, it had to come through this. This is downhill. And the engineer is flipping out. He says, "You are onto something." I says, "Wood chips are amazing for displacing water." He says, "This is incredible." This is the engineer. And he's blowing his mind. there in 8 inches of standing water above grade where it came from, 1.5 feet deep. He can't find it. It's awesome. You know, and he just says, this is huge. But before they'll ever do it, they'll have to do a scientific study, spend millions of dollars to try to validate that it works, even though they saw that it worked. So it'll probably not happen. But it's just so pathetic. So if you ever have a drain field failing, just do wood chips. Don't ever redo it. Just cover wood chips and you're good. It's awesome. I love the Creator. You look at nature. You know, let me show you how powerful wood chips are. You know, just down the road here, 70 miles down the road, we have the whole rainforest. You know how much water it gets a year? 14 feet of annual rainwater. 14 feet. Now, 14 feet of water, you know what it looks like on the ground? That's a pond. You'll see my film. The girls are in the forest. They're walking on the ground. It's not soggy. It's not boggy. There's no standing water. Those wood chips with no brain are displacing 14 feet of water a year. You know how they do it? They bring it to the surface and it evaporates. They pull it up and it evaporates. And in my place where I have no water, the same wood chips retract it and hold it in the ground. I don't know about you, but when they're talking about not intelligent design, I'm thinking, you are insane. This is beyond intelligent. This is a completely inanimate object. When there's excess water, displaces it. When there's lack of water, retains it with no mind. I don't know about you, but this gets my attention. This is one amazing designer, creator. Thank you so much. You're so welcome. Bless you.
And it's simple.
I love simple. You know what's so cool about simple? It's a safe place. You can't get lost there. Really. You can't get lost with simple. It's safe. So let's go head over to the herb garden.
Is this your first one? This is your first bed here?
No.
Where you started?
Oh, this is my first garden, yeah. Mm-hmm. But you know what was pathetic? I was tilling this for 17 years when I had the orchard working great. I'm serious. I was totally stupid. Really.
You were tilling this.
Tilling this. And I'll tell you what happened to me, how it changed. It was hilarious. I'm out here one day setting my string. You know, I put a stick down to make a straight line. Yeah. And I'm hitting this hard pan at 6 inches. I said, now God, what's up to this? I've been bringing in truckloads of organic material, tilling this. How come my hard pan's not breaking up? And he got totally silent. He wouldn't talk to me. Like loud, silent. He says, go out in the orchard and weed. I says, really? Yeah, just go out in the orchard and weed. So when I'm out there, he says, why don't you start moving that wood chips and see how deep it goes? I'm down to my elbow in this gorgeous black compost and I'm flipping out. I'm screaming. I'm saying, there's something wrong with this picture. I've been killing myself to get to the garden. I don't have it. He says, well, it works in your garden the same way. He didn't ask. I was so mad, I threw that tiller away and started covering my garden with wood chips. And 3 years into it, it was so cool. I'm out here pushing that stick down and I get this impression, give it a push. And I gave it a push and it broke loose. I think, wow, the hard pan's breaking up. And simultaneously, there's a robin over here pulling out worms. And here's what the Spirit told me. I sent those worms to break up your hard pan, and you kept killing them with the tiller. Now you're not killing them, they're breaking your hard pan. And I started to cry. I thought, here in my insanity, I'm trying to make good soil, and I'm destroying it. Totally destroying it. Wow. Not realizing what I'm doing. It was not knowing.
It is absolutely amazing.
It's incredible. I sent those worms to break up your hard pan, and you kept killing them with the tiller.
Soil I'm growing on, you couldn't get a pickaxe into it in the summertime.
Well, if you go behind my house over here, mine's the same way.
Well, 6 months after doing it, I could push my finger
I know. Don't you love it?
to the knuckle.
And you'll find that it just keeps improving, gets deeper. It doesn't end. I mean, I love God. It's just, God's not static. He's not static. And all he does is multiplication.
Well, my first year, I put 8 inches of wood chips down. At the end of that year, I had this much left.
Awesome.
I had to put another 3 inches this year.
You know why? The soil was hungry.
Yeah.
And it ate it up. You know what I'm finding here? This is so cool. See, as I'm getting older, I'm not as capable to do things I used to, but I'm finding that I don't need to. You see, because my soil is so nutrient dense, I don't have to add wood chips anymore because they're maintaining. Because my soil is not hungry. My soil is not hungry. It doesn't need to eat much. It's very satisfied. When I first came, it was weak. It was just breaking down fast because it was really hungry. I'm thinking, like, this is so cool. I love it.
The fennel is like ouzo candy.
Isn't that sweet? I love the flavor, man. It's like sugar, you know. It's off the chart.
flowers on the fennel?
Yeah, they're just basically seed. But you know, I don't know if you realize, you see all my figs? See, I live in a place that figs don't grow. You know, figs aren't supposed to grow here in the north.
No, I know. We've got lots of figs in Victoria. Lots of fig plants. They're not supposed to grow there either.
Yeah, this one here gets ripe. It's called Desert King. It gets really good.
The blueberries in there, in behind, look like they're going to be absolutely incredibly massive.
Yeah, they will be.
Yeah.
And if you want to have something really cool, there's red currant up against the building. They're really delicious. Walk around there and eat them. You'll see when you get there, right up against the building.
We have a tree. Would be better to put them in the ground or container?
What?
Big trees.
Oh, everything in the ground. See, containers are really restricted, and here's the problem with containers. The roots are forced to grow around themselves. As they expand, they're going to girdle. They'll choke themselves because they have nowhere else to go. And they keep getting thicker and thicker, and they're just going to choke. So you always want to get plants in the soil.
I just wanted him to hear about growing in containers.
we don't have the land, so...
If you don't have the land, then make large boxes and put them on the concrete or something. Container plants, the challenge is that because the plant's in a container, the roots are forced to grow around itself. As they expand, they're going to choke themselves. They're going to girdle.
Oh, I see.
I mean, just do the math.
Yeah.
Do the math. You know? And so this is why you never want to buy a plant in a container. Always buy plants bare root, because they're in a container. They're already trained to grow in that pattern, and they're going to choke themselves.
Yeah, well, I don't know, in landscaping, you normally just take your knife and just cut the roots. Right?
Try to spread them.
Yeah, try to get them to spread out.
But I'm saying, ideally, you want to have plants in soil. Wow. That's why it's nice to buy bare root trees, because they weren't in containers.
Yeah.
They were just taken out of the ground.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And we can buy a lot of bare root.
Well, just the time of year. Yeah, just wait till they're dormant. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just that's when you want to put your plants in. You know. Yeah. But people in a hurry. Being in a hurry is just never, the Bible says, be anxious for nothing.
Everything in prayer and supplication, submitting your requests unto God.
Yeah, just not be anxious, because anxious is just not a good idea.
Relaxed and calm is his.
Yeah. I love the word. God is really, He gave us a good owner's manual. It says, be anxious for nothing. He really gets it. Like, it's not a good idea,
Yet our society is so...
We're just the opposite in the society. We want it all right now, instant, and we're totally anxious as can be to get it, And when you get it, then they don't like it and want something else.
Well, we're really grateful to be able to come here and see you.
Well, I'm so glad you could come. Yeah, cool.
We looked up and we're like, because we're going to be in the area. We already had
a
plan, and we saw that. Well, Roy knew about the documentary, and we're like, well, let's see if we can reach out to Paul if there's something we can do. And then we saw we'd be in this area on the Sundays when you were doing it, so it was like it was meant to be.
And what a perfect day!
Gorgeous,
Wow, eh? It's like
isn't that sweet? Like licorice almost,
But sweet licorice.
Yeah.
There are two different types of fennel, right?
There's a green one. This is the I can't think of the name of it, but there's one that's more green. This is more of like a chocolate, a brown, a darker color.
There's one that kind of spreads though, correct?
I don't know.
Fennel will go to seed and it'll
go everywhere. That's why I got to cut this back soon. So I'll cut this out of the ground and grow back again. I want to show you all God's how can I say his toilet paper. Come here. Before they created tissue paper, this is God's idea. You see this mullein over here?
Oh yeah.
Look at those leaves. Look at those. And go handle them. Those are the nicest tissue you could ever imagine.
And there's no rash or after effects?
No rash, no after effects, and it biodegrades.
Are you using it?
I'm just saying, before tissue, this is what they did use.
Yeah.
This is what was used before tissue was made.
Yeah. So those are the biggest plants like that I've ever seen.
I know. You don't usually see them that big,
Some of my clients have them, but they're not
that size. But that's such nice tissue, Now I want to show you the effect of nutrient density. Does anybody here use herbs in their cooking?
Yes.
You use thyme. Sometimes, that's cool. Use it, get that word. But anybody familiar with thyme? I want you to take a really tiny piece because I want you to see how nutrient density is so powerful. I'm talking tiny because...
We've already tried it.
It's potent, man. It's so strong.
That's more potent than your wasabi.
I know.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's powerful. And what I love about it is that it's what it's growing in, wood chips. I mean, you know, people, you can buy thyme in the store. It's not this. You know, this is nutrient density, you know. It's just like, it's powerful. Have you been to my chicken pen?
We went and looked at the chickens. Yeah, she said the cougar got in there and got a bunch of chickens.
Have you ever been to a chicken pen, though? In public?
Oh, yeah.
They stink.
Yeah, lots of them.
Stink, yeah.
Mine has no odor. Did you notice? There's no odor.
Yeah, no, it doesn't smell like chicken.
And you know what else? When you come to a chicken pen, the chickens all run up to you. Mine don't.
No.
Because they're not hungry. Because they're satisfied.
There's a whole different vibe off your chicken.
Yeah, because they're satisfied. See, most chickens are hungry, and they peck on one another because they're lacking protein. They're trying to get feathers for protein because they don't have it in their food. Where these chickens eat everything out of my garden, live food, they're totally satisfied.
Wow.
And there's no stench because the manure is so lost in the yard waste, you can't even find it. I mean, you can't even, you go there and you look on the ground, you can't even see manure. It's just because it's so lost in all the yard waste.
Wow.
Which is so right. You know, stench is not good.
I just can't get over like everywhere.
Look at that. Awesome.
You can even see the soil right here.
I know.
Just coming,
Yeah. And you go in my chicken pen, you can go down 2.5 feet with your hands. Because it's just, I'm telling you, man, it's all compost. It's just totally awesome how it's made.
So you use some of that for around the plants and stuff?
Well, you know, not my garden. Oh, here's this issue with abundance. Come here, look at my chicken pen. You'll see my fence is getting real short.
Well, I see that. No, I've seen in there and seen that.
Yeah. You know why?
Because
The ground's raising.
Yeah.
So I have to get it out of there because I'm losing my fence. So at all levels, I'm being pushed with abundance. My garden doesn't really need it, but I got to get it out of here and put my garden because I have too much.
You got to get it out.
I got to get it out because I have too much. I'm losing my fence. I have abundance at every level. It's just amazing. Did you get to sample the chives?
The blueberries are delicious too.
These are a lot of work.
And see what I'll do, you see all that coarse stuff in there that's, you know, they're not eating?
Yeah.
When it all dries up, I just pull in a pile and burn it. Make ashes, which is really good for the ground. So it's just totally convenient. You see, people have these compost bins, and they're always chopping up and turning and doing all this work to try to, you know, break down all this stuff. Chickens just do it all for so easy.
I do this stuff. I work on. I work for this one lady. She's got like half an acre, but she's got an orchard of 35 trees and chickens and stuff. And she's just like it's much like here, only without the wood chips. And the trees are a lot harder to work on because they're so high.
Yeah.
Compared to being so low to the ground.
It's so convenient, man.
I'm gonna send her a bunch of pictures and stuff.
Yeah, it's just I can reach everything. You know, it's just so much easier to work. You know, and
well, yeah, and like she had, because I don't do all the pruning and stuff there. She had these other girls pruning for 2 days. Crap, she could have done it all by herself almost from the ground.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I stand on the ground and do it all from the ground.
Like you say, you just go over there and knock the nubs off, basically.
Yeah, when during the growing, because I don't want that to develop, so I just rub them off when they're little. You know, again, when you think about the logic, why take all the energy to create all this growth, wood and leaves you're going to cut off later, that shade your fruit? I mean, it makes no sense.
Well, and then you're going to get up there and on a ladder and cut
Yeah,
it all
and then
off.
try to reach it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes no sense. Why let it happen at all? If it doesn't belong, get it out up front.
Yeah, and why expend all that additional energy?
Yeah, and it takes energy from the tree to create all that wood and leaves you're going to cut off. I mean, it's just, again, this whole concept of thinking.
Well, the whole concept of like food and like the amount of effort that you have to go to get it. Like why, like you say, God meant us to. The birds don't have to.
Nothing in nature sweats it. You know, it's only us. It's crazy. It's totally crazy.
Grapevine. Yeah.
And see this willow tree. See what a nice place this makes for the chickens for shade and then protection from the eagles and hawks.
They eat the ends of the willow.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, you can see all the ends all eaten off. You know.
They keep the willow trim.
And you know what
Have you seen? Do you watch? We just went to Sharon and I just the Biggest Little Farm.
I love that film. That is so awesome because they really show life. You know, tenacity. They stuck it with it. They didn't give up, and they totally won. I love that film. It's so real.
Yeah.
It was such an awesome film.
It does. It hits all your emotions.
It does, you know.
Inspiration as well.
Yeah. And they do everything right. They have a home birth. I mean, they just do it right. It's just, I'm serious. They really got it. You know, and again, just their hit. They came from a motel in LA, you know, and just like completely like in the natural, like really. And they got it. They had this really
170 acres of the most irritable land.
Oh, and I love it. It was just compacted clay and rock at the end. Beautiful black, awesome stuff. Under cover crops. Yeah, just and then the first crop was all eaten by birds. They couldn't sell, and then but they stayed with it. They were tenacious, and it's just to me, it just really speaks volumes to a culture that doesn't understand that.
Well, they've got no concept. Everything is instantaneous.
Yeah, and it's not real.
His dog Todd inspired him.
I know.
By waiting.
I know.
I would wait,
yes.
And I would wait for a creative solution to come. Basically, exactly the message.
Same as you.
Yeah. And you know, again, they had. I mean, the coyotes were killing all their chickens. I mean, they just had all those issues, but they totally stayed with it and just totally overcame. It was. I love that film.
And the humor when he's like, we go from what to do with the coyotes to not having enough coyotes to help with the gopher population.
Yeah, right.
We bring in the owls as part of bringing forest and farming, but it was just so beautiful.
I know. Oh yeah.
Have you seen? You haven't seen that yet?
Yeah, it's really.
The Biggest Little Farm.
Really, we're seeing. It's a significant film. So good.
Over 10 years, but you just feel because they, the hardships they go through, and then what to sort of work with, how to work with.
And there are quite a few people that would have given up.
Oh yeah, I think most everybody would. The common. But what I said is this: it was tenacity, and just stick with it. They didn't give up, and just always came back and just kept pursuing. It was just, to me, such a powerful demonstration. So
illustration, just like the tree.
Yeah.
Just like the fruit trees are. It's just an illustration of sticking with stuff. And check that out.
So, if you want a nice garden, and you have some time, here's how you establish it. You see that building over there? That was my first chicken pen. And this place that you're standing on was my original chicken pen. And one day my wife says, I want an herb garden. I'm looking around at my yard, I'm thinking like an herb garden. And I'm thinking of the work it's going to take to rip out all this grass and start some, and I knew what the soil was here because of the chickens, because of what that is. And I says, you know what? I'm just going to move the chickens down. This will be the herb garden. So I'm just telling you, if you want a really nice garden, put chickens on it for about 10 years. They will develop the most amazing soil that you could never do on your own, and then just move them and just use that space for a garden. Because
it's just so funny because even some of the places we go in and work, it's like we buy soil to bring in and lay down lawn and stuff like that. Sometimes the soil is better than you can buy that they have.
Yeah, right. Again, the stuff they sell you, nothing grows in. It stands on that lot for a whole year with no weeds.
Well, I buy stuff from a place. It's called Stanhope Organic Farms. It's a dairy farm, and what they do is they process all these wood chips, like big logs and trees and all plant debris basically, but weeds as well. So they process this through a chipper, and then it goes up and it gets put in the cattle thing, bin, and then it gets pushed down, and then they take it into a building, and it's the only place in Victoria or on the island that basically the soil won't. All the other places process soil so quickly that the weeds just thrive in it, and it's already got weeds in it when they deliver it to you. But their stuff, you can't weeds. There's no weeds. Like if you cover the soil, there's no weeds will grow in that soil. They bring it up to 90 degrees C in a huge building, and they use compressed air to basically drive air through it and ventilate it. But it's brought up to 90 degrees C for about basically 17 days.
Wow.
And then it's rerun through the chipper, and then it becomes it's super
good soil, yeah.
Nutrient rich stuff. If
Great.
you dump it on,
what a great resource you have. That's awesome.
Stuff will grow like crazy. But I use that stuff though, and I ground it up into the soil this year. And if I had just laid it on top,
the best,
like you said, it would have been way better. And like I'm talking to Sharon about it. I'm like, oh, the plants aren't doing like they came up and kind of thrived, and then they just stopped growing. And it was just like, it was like after watching the other thing, it's like, oh, it's depleting the nitrogen in the soil.
Well, see, the soil has to digest it.
Yeah.
You see, when you put something in, it's got to break it down, and so it stresses it.
Yeah.
When you lay it on top, and the composting process is releasing nutrients.
Yeah.
It's feeding the soil. I mean, it's just again, you look at God, how He made it. It's so genius. It's such a great idea, you know.
I remember you were talking in the documentary about how vegetables grow within a week, as to like our carrots have been. They're a month, and they're like the longer it takes, the tougher they get.
Big.
So, but when you were saying about things should grow fast, it's not this within a week or something. It's just funny in that way too. Going, wow, this is really taking a while.
Well, I think when food grows fast, it's tender and sweet.
Yeah.
If things go slow, it's tough and bitter.
Yeah.
It's so obvious,
so relevant,
so real.
Yeah.
You said that
and then it's the same as but now I'm kind of watching, like just one of the other videos that you were talking about was just like how love and that growth happens, and that really trying to watch everything that we eat, make sure that it's loved, because if it's not loved, then it's
toxic.
Yeah.
It's pretty basic.
Yeah.
We have to head out, actually, but I just want to say thank you so much. This is really awesome.
You're so welcome. Bless you. Glad you could come. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Glad
and your
you could
generosity
come.
with
You're
your
so,
time and your fruit.
My pleasure.
Knowledge.
Glad to do it.
It's the little
Oh,
token of
thank you so much. Appreciate
Thank
it. You're welcome. Bless you. Have a nice, safe trip home.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, anyways, it was just awesome just being able to come here and just hang out with you and just spend some time and actually walk the yard and see what it's like.
Oh, cool. I'm glad you could.
Yeah.
Well, my sense is I want people to get how easy this is. It's really not hard.
Yeah.
And we don't need to work so hard. It's much simpler,
The message is just exactly, it's so often, as you say, it's doing things that are just, and counterproductive.
Yeah.
Like I love that story with the worms. You're like, not only were you working hard,
but I was killing all my worms.
You're killing what could have
would have made it right,
Go on to help you. So those kind of
make it hard.
epiphanies of going, oh yeah, exactly. Of how did I miss this? Or
But one of my good friends who we kind of work together. He's a tree guy and
arborist.
Yeah,
cool.
Arborist and tree guy. And he's got a bucket truck, and he's got the thousands of dollars worth of chipper equipment.
Yeah.
And he needs a place to dump his chips, so I'm gonna
help him out. Yeah.
I'm gonna help him out.
Yeah,
say,
just
hey,
bring all your stuff here. I'll use it.
Bring a few of your chips here, and we'll be delighted to have them.
Well, to me, it's like a major resource. It's just such a blessing to have.
Yeah.
People always ask, how much would you? I says, how much money do you want in the bank? I mean, it's like a major, asset. Can't get too many.
So we want to gift you too.
Well, thank you so much.
Like
Appreciate
I said, I'm just so grateful. I'm grateful for the people that you help out. Like it's just it's a gift. It's like coming on here is like walking into like just a gift and peace. So.
The peace is significant. I feel so thankful.
Yeah.
No one can deny the peace. I mean, it's so.
Even the chickens, like everything.
Yeah, everything's a peace. Again, to me, that's you can't create that.
You can't. No.
That is a gift, and I feel so thankful. Like what a pleasure. Yeah, God.
Just like we drive up, it's like, oh, it was like, almost like a bit of coming home because we'd already seen you and heard you and that.
Yeah.
So it was like we'd already met you.
I've seen this place before, yeah.
This is familiar in the nicest of ways.
This guy here, he really does a nice thing. You know what? You know what's so cool about this is that I did none of this. Someone paid for the film, had it made.
Yeah.
Someone wrote a book, and he comes and does all this for me. I love God. He's so fun to work with. He pays all the bills. He arranges everything for you, and you just get to enjoy the benefits.
And sharing it with the world.
I know, but my point is I don't do any of it.
It's coming to you.
It's coming to me, which makes it so easy. And again, I could have never financed that film or done all this. I can't do what he's doing, but it's so cool how it just all comes.
How it flows.
When you're aligned.
Yeah, alignment is so cool.
Anyways, what a gift. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much. I so appreciate you coming. Yeah, bless you.
Paul. Yes,
bless you guys.
Just do all that you're doing and share it.
Thank you for doing what you
exactly.
do.
Yeah.
Anything that puts it out in the world, exactly, for others to be inspired to. I mean, we're all one planet. Anyone that can get onto the simplicity.
Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Well, that's all I have for this video. Bang around that bell icon if you want to be notified when new videos come out. Call us on the hotline if you have comments or questions and want to be featured in an upcoming video. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe. Check us out on the website, and we'll see you guys on the next one.